Right, we're recording. And so what I'll do, I'll package up the recording and I'll send it to the team afterwards. Okay. So today I've been asked to talk about individual, community and company fundraising and how you can support those fundraising streams with the technology that you have. So before we go into that, is there anyone who doesn't know what people's fundraising is and doesn't know in general what your platform is?
I think I use it in different ways, so I might only use it for raffles and things like that. And looking at reports is sort of what I use it for. But not organised. Income reports,
really
ticket sales.
used it at all,
no,
but I need to use it for events.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'll do then, I'll spend the first 5-10 minutes talking about who we are, and then we can get down in more into the individual, community and company fundraising side. Okay. So let me share my screen. And any questions, just speak out as we go through. Okay. So I do tend to talk quite a lot as well. Right. Okay. So we're People Fundraising and we're a fundraising platform. Thanks, Bradley. And we have 3 differentiators when it comes to other fundraising platforms. Because if you think about fundraising platforms, depending what area of fundraising is in, you may think about Just Giving, you may think about Eventbrite, you may think about Raffle, you may think about all these different types of platforms. So how do we differentiate ourselves from those other platforms? So the first is pricing. And generally, we're either the lowest cost platform on the market or very close to the lowest cost platform on the market. Now, you have a branded platform, so the costs are slightly higher than an unbranded. And what I mean by that is peoplesfundraising.com supports about 5,000 charities. A branded platform is your very own version of People's Fundraising with all the branding. Okay. Now, we on our website, we've got a really good comparison of between ourselves and other platforms. So just check that out on your own time. But even the branded platform is a lot less to run it than a lot of the other platforms that don't provide the branding and don't provide the tools. Okay. All right. So the second differentiator is the range of tools that the platform provides. And in short, we provide the most tools, we believe, of any other platform, possibly in the world, to be honest, but definitely in the UK. Now, what that essentially enables you to do, and the practice behind it, is that the more ways you offer your supporters to fundraise, the more the more supporters will engage in fundraising, and the more money you generate. Okay. So, putting that in a different way, so you've probably seen all the different tools we have. Some people make donations, other people enter raffles, other people do auctions, other people do members lotteries, other people do shops, but they're not necessarily the same person. They're different people like different ways to engage in fundraising, and therefore you offer multiple different ways, more people engage and you generate more income. Okay. Now, a couple of other points on having all the tools in one platform. You've probably realised this, but your administrative costs are, when it comes to fundraising, are lower. So as a team, you don't need to log on to 5, 6, 7, 8 different platforms. You can log on to one. You can do raffles. You can do events. You can do all of those things. And also from the back office, CRM package, you don't need to integrate with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different platforms. You're essentially integrating with one platform for all of your fundraising streams. So we also support reduction of operational time and costs, which is really great. Now, the other thing with having all the tools in one platform is you can create really amazing supporter journeys. Now, typically when charities talk about supporter journeys, that will mean maybe somebody buys a ticket for an event and you may follow them up with a few emails. Maybe somebody makes a donation, you follow them up with a few emails. But fundraising is changing. You guys, by the way, are pretty good at fundraising. So hands off to you. I really have to say that you're really a really good example of fundraising, but you could be a lot better, which is really cool. And so fundraising is changing because people or supporters are looking for more of an experience when it comes to the fundraising journey, or they're looking for ways that they feel more involved. Okay, so in other words, the donation ask, just give us a donation, is plateauing. And we can see that amongst the 5,000 charities we support, it's plateauing But other fundraising streams are coming up, where donations are plateauing. So the other fundraising streams that are becoming more popular are the ones where the supporter feels more engaged, or they feel more part of, charity operations. Okay. Now I always give this example of a fundraising journey that really exemplifies changing the journey into an experience for the supporter. And I'm going to talk about maybe 8 different revenue streams, and you never have to ask anyone for a donation. So you do a lot of events, which is great. So just say you have, an end of year event, sit down event, black tie, you sell individual tickets, group tickets, discount tickets, which is amazing. You did all that. That's one revenue stream. Now, in order to make the event more interesting, you run a raffle and an auction where people can buy raffle tickets before the event, and at the event you draw, to make it an occasion. That's the second revenue stream. And likewise, people can bid on auction items, up until the auction, and then at the event, you still got the bidding going on, but then you finish the bidding. So that's a third revenue stream, all related to the event. Now, let's just say that either you hit capacity on ticket sales, or there are people who want to turn up. I'm going to talk about something you tried, but it didn't work for you. Something that you, sorry. Yeah, so people want to turn up, but they can't. So again, then you can live stream it with a live meeting. I know you've tried that once, and it didn't fully work, but we've now got that to work really nicely. So you can actually stream the event with a live meeting. Maybe you can have a couple of live meetings going on at the same time. But that's a fourth revenue stream. Now you can take that recording and you could say edit the highlights, and then you could sell it via a shop. That's a fifth revenue stream. Maybe you could take the raw recordings as well, and you could put them up on, say, your Facebook channels, X, Instagram and stuff like that, but you still want to monetize it. So you could overlay it with your QR code to your members lottery. That's the sixth revenue stream. Now, before you even sold tickets, and this is something I don't think you do, is you could have set up individual memberships, so bronze, silver, gold, community membership, company membership, and that's the seventh revenue stream. And then when people buy tickets for the event, or maybe things from the shop, or live meeting tickets, they can get a special members discount. But importantly, you've got another revenue stream in terms of memberships, and people feel more engaged. Now, imagine your events, and we are aware you do run an event. Maybe it's a super big event, and you need to pay for premises, and you need to pay, say, for food. Instead of just paying those suppliers, you could say something like, okay, how about this? We're going to generate income from ticket sales, raffle sales, and auction sales. We will split 10% with the organisation who provides the premises, 20% for the food, and we will keep 70%. And your system can allocate that 20/70 and pay those organisations directly. So
sorry, just quickly, I'm getting a lot of interference. Is it just me?
No.
So that's a good point. Do you want to put yourselves on mute, unless you've got questions? And I don't think you'll get that interference.
Yeah, click that.
But come off mute at any time if you've got any questions. All right. Okay. All right. So what that last example shows, it shows that you can now work with communities and companies. Could be a school, could be a local sports club, could be a commercial company, whereby their engagement with you, they can either have their costs covered, or they can generate income while they're maybe running an event with you, or holding a raffle, or holding a shop. And that's a massive area of growth, I think, within your fundraising. Okay. Now, so that's the tools, all the tools in one platform, and you've pretty much got the cutting edge, fundraising technology. And the third one is obviously we have a branding option. So you guys have got your own fully branded platform, which is really great. Now, what that means is that every page sits off fundraising.wearebeams. That means that when people make donations, buy event tickets, they're going to get an email, and it's probably from something like fundraising@wearebeams. And the email template is going to look like We Are Beams as well. So for all intents and purposes, somebody's just interacting with your website. You know, they're not going to another system. They're not going to People's Fundraising. They're not going to Just Giving. They're not going to Eventbrite. They're not going to Raffle. You know, if they're buying tickets, it's through We Are Beams. Okay. Now, we always say that the fully branded platform is important for two reasons. The first reason is that you want really nice website integration. And so if you go to your website, I haven't actually been to your website actually for a long time. Let's have a look. Right, where does this go? Okay, so you click on donate and people sort of, you know, they expect they go to a branded site. Okay, so for most people, they don't see the transition between your website and their website. Sorry, your website and the branded website. So the first reason, although it's a secondary of importance, is that you want really nice website integration. Okay, and probably I think you do it with things like shops and memberships and things like that. So I can come and buy a gift voucher. I go to buy a gift voucher. And again, we've gone from your website to the branded platform. Okay, so that's the first reason. By the way, in terms of the look and feel, how it looks, if you want the look and feel to be updated, maybe more aligned with your website or new themes, just let us know. So part of the contract between yourselves is if you want the look and feel to be updated anytime, just let us know. Tell us how you want it to be updated, and then we'll update it. Okay. Anyway, the second reason and the most important reason for the branded platform is directly to do with how you engage with your fundraisers. So you engage with your fundraisers via your conversational channels. So yes, your website's good and you know people can make donations and buy things from the shop, but what you realize is that you actually have conversations with your supporters via your social channels, maybe in person, maybe in WhatsApp groups, maybe in email chains. So that's actually where the conversation's happening. Okay, so just take your your Facebook page, really nice. You guys are really active on it. And so generally in the context of fundraising, what happens is you're talking about all the super cool things that you're doing. And then from the conversation, you are introducing the fundraising ask. So maybe on Facebook, you've probably got a few links to, you know, sign up for this event, sign up for that event, enter the raffle, you know, things like that. People click on the link, they go to a branded page, so not even your website, that reinforces brand recognition, that reinforces trust. People make the purchase, and then they come straight back to the conversational channel again. So at no point really in the fundraising cycle, or rarely do people actually go to your fundraising website unless you're specifically directing them to your website, whereas you don't actually need to do that. You can just now direct them to a branded page. Okay. All right. So that's what you guys have got, which is really, really great. And so today, yeah, let's talk a little bit more about individual, community, and company fundraising. Team, any questions on what I've just said? So no. All right, okay. All right, so let's log into your platform. So if you're an administrator on your platform, this is essentially what you will see, okay? And I'll just go through the control panel. And by the way, I hope everyone's okay to see your own statistics. If you're not, you need to let me know, okay? So the first thing, whenever you log in, you can always move this. And what this control does, it resets the interface depending on what level of fundraising you're engaged in. It's just like a little small control that sort of tidies up the interface for you. So if you guys do everything, you put it to the max and then you have access to everything. But, you know, if you're just, if you just care about, say, donations, you can essentially remove things. And also you can just click that and that will also remove the section itself. Okay. And you can also click that and remove that section also. So in terms of like usability, you know, we try and have a usable interface. Now,
can you change the order of that? So then when you do that sliding scale, you can have just the ones that you want, or?
Yeah, so what you can do then is you can use that sliding scale, but also you can click these things to turn off the individual sections themselves. Right, so for example, if in your role, Bradley, you never did tombolas, you'll just click that and it will disappear. Okay, now that other control, that was just a convenience method of it groups those things, it hides those things, right? Now, if you wanna unhide things, you have to click on menu, go to hidden sections, and then you click back to those again. Okay, and then you can see them again. All right. Okay, but yeah, you can individually click them off and on, or not. Okay, now this is on top of, you also get role-based access. So if your role, you only care about reports, then we can set you up just to see reports. If your role is you only care about the fundraising tools, we can also set that up so you don't see the reports and you see the fundraising tools. Okay, now how you do that, by the way, you click on menu. So the super admin clicks on menu, they go to accounts, manage account administrators, and oh no, that's page management, sorry, accounts, manage account administrators. Yeah, and you search for somebody with their email address, or it's in the list, and then you just assign them the relevant role. So most people, it seems, are super admins, but you can have as many admins as you like. But if, for example, I don't know, Luke didn't need to be super admin, you could just say set it to reports role, and then he could only see reports, or set it to pages, you could only see pages and whatnot. Now, when somebody moves out of their role, what you want to do is you probably just want to move them to a user role. Okay. Right, so let's go back to the control panel again. So what the control panel allows you to do in real time, it will show all of your fundraising streams in real time, which is really, really cool, right? So you don't need to wait until the end of the day, end of the week, end of the month, where all that data is moved to your account package CRM. It's all here just for you to analyze. Now, by default, I think it shows the last 2 weeks, but you can change the dates and put in any date range, and then it will show you the statistics over those date ranges. Okay. Now, you can click into these, and essentially, if you click these items here, it will take you to the income report, but in the income report, it will set the relevant filters. Okay. So for example, these 29 memberships, I could click that, it will take me to the income report, and it will set the relevant filters for membership pages. And I think it will set the dates as well. I can now download that, and it will show me those 29 payments related to what it showed you on the quick statistics. Okay, so the quick statistics is amazing, right? Because you can just see everything in real time. You know, you refresh the page to see the updated statistics, and then in order to get down to the detail, so just take members lottery, I can click on this. It will set the relevant dates, and it will set the relevant filters. So I can just click that and then click download, and it will show me the associated information. Okay. Now, in terms of reporting, we've got a hierarchy of reporting. So we have the income report, which is amazing. It shows you every single purchase over every fundraising stream and all the data associated with that purchase. But then just say, for example, somebody's buying 10 raffle tickets. The income report would show one item, which is the purchase for £10, just say they're £1 each. But if you click here, this will show the associated item record for that. So this would show, so there are 10 purchases, and through those 10 purchases, you've sold 100 raffle tickets. So this would show 10 via the income report. This here would click to, in this case, the raffle ticket purchase report, and therefore it would show the associated ticket purchases for that, £10 purchase. Okay, so you can go from the downloading the purchase record itself to the items and details of those purchases. Okay, and so that's the same with all of these. So if somebody had bought things from a shop, just say they had spent £50 in the shop, you could click here, and that would show it was a £50 purchase. You would click here to the product purchase report, and that would show the items that constituted that £50 purchase. Okay. Right. So anyway, super cool, quick stats. Now extending that, we've got what we call quick reports as well. So what quick reports allow you to do, it allows you to, what People's Fundraising is, it's not a CRM package. Okay, you probably want a dedicated CRM, but it provides some CRM-like reports. Okay, so one report you may want for your CRM or accounts package is, given a date range, what's the total amount of money that's been generated over all of our fundraising streams. Okay, so you don't need to wait until it gets to the account package for that. You can essentially download the income report. Okay, and it will show you the total generated. Or, maybe you've got a couple of different campaigns. You could say, what's the total generated over those campaigns? Or you could say, we've got lots of different types of pages. We've got, at least a members lottery page. We've got maybe some membership pages. We've got some different raffle pages. Give me the income, the total income per the raffle page. Or you could say, give me the income per supporter. So this is, for example, the question is, who's the highest value donor? This is that, but it incorporates all the fundraising streams. Okay, so you can get this information before you need to go to your account package CRM. Okay, now let's just, as an example, then drill down. Let's click on here, get me the total income by supporter. Again, what this does, it takes you to the income reports, but what it does, it sets the relevant filters. Okay, so you've got group by and you've got restrict by. Group by essentially means, given all the different rows of data, some of these rows of data you can group by. So in order to get the highest value supporter, we're grouping by email address. So that's a proxy for a supporter. Okay, so we're going to get the income report data, but we're going to group it by email address, and we're not going to select any of these other filters. So now if I click download, over the last 2 weeks, these three people, no, is it over the last 2 weeks or is it over today? Okay, yeah, today, your highest value supporter, and you can just check here, is Philip. Well done, Philip. Do you know what I mean? So just say you wanted to therefore find the highest value supporter maybe over, since November. You would just change that to 11. Yeah, group by email address. And these are all of your supporters who've made purchases since the 1st of November. And then you would just find out who's got, you'd reorder this by, payment gross or payment net. So just scanning this really quickly, it looks like Peter Lawrence is your highest value. Yeah, just really scanning it quickly. Looks like Peter Lawrence is your highest value giver in November. Okay.
Can you download that as an Excel sheet rather than as you're looking at it now?
Yeah, absolutely. So
and then sort it differently, can't you?
Yeah. So look for the output format. The output format is super cool. So you just change it to CSV. You click download, and then you open it up, and it will give you something like this. And then you'll download it by just I think this is net. So N. So data sort by N, and that's descending. Yeah, so it's Robert Greaves. Oh, we would have missed Robert. Right, so you can do things like that. It's cool, isn't it? So you don't need to wait until you get to your accounts package CRM. Now, the reason why we provide this is fundraising is an engaging activity. All of the fundraisers, and that's pretty much anyone in the organization, should have the information at their fingertips in real time, to go out there to talk about, thanks very much, Robert. You've really supported us over the last few weeks. And, you really want to make things as dynamic as possible. So that's why we give you all of this data. Okay. Now, so that's, by the way, Robert is the highest value giver, right? And the reason why is we haven't selected a particular page type. If you wanted to drill down and say who's the highest value donor, although that's now an old concept, it's really giver, because people are going to not just donate you, they're going to give in lots of other different ways. You could actually just select that. So restrict by, and then press download again. and it will give you a similar table, but it's now just can you see, actual fact, the number of donations, people making donations, is actually way less than the number of people giving in other means. How crazy is that? So again, it's not really about focusing on the high value donor now. It's about focusing on the highest value giver, although if you did want to focus, you can really see from that actually Peter was the highest value donor. Okay. Which is really, really nice. So as a fundraising team, whether you're into individual, community or company fundraising, all of these tools are just at your fingertips. Okay. You can even do things like payment type or, page type. Our raffles out competing events, our events out competing members lotteries, out of the specific pages. So you can say, right, which page, let's download this data by page. So we're grouping it by page name in actual fact.
I've got a question because I'm interested in tags and which platform brings the, basically which advert is most successful. Is there a way I can see that report? Because we've got like different tags, for example, for the raffle page.
Yeah.
So there are different links and QR codes for like Facebook campaign, leaflets, outside banner.
So you got a group. Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. Thanks very much for that, Karen. So the group by, in your case, you've got a group by tag. Yeah. So let's just run that report. And by the way, all of these are the income report, but it's just the income report with filters set. Okay. So if you guys are already using tags, so then you could say which tag is generating the most income from the 1st of the 11th, from November. Okay. And we're going to do HTML. So let's download that. And so these are your tags, and you'll download it as CSV. You can see all of your tags, and then you can see how much is being generated. So let's actually download that as CSV. Yeah, I'm glad you're using tags, by the way. So it's AG. Okay, so very quickly, okay, so things that are not tagged are generating the most money, but of your tags, it looks like your e-newsletter is doing really, really well. And that's since November. Yeah. But again, you may want to do other things. You may want to say, okay, let's take it back to the first, let's take it back to the beginning of 2025. Okay, we're going to group it by tag. You can restrict it to more things. Let's download it as a CSV. So what do you think is going to be the top contenders over the last year for sources?
Well, it depends what page you're going to pick, because each page has a different tags, and not all of them. So
yeah. Okay, so let's check out then. So these are the tags you've used over the last year, and let's sort by, what is it, AG? Data. Sort by AG, descending. Okay, so yeah, of the tags, website and whatnot. By the way, tagging is really important because obviously you can tell from where people are scanning. People are scanning or clicking. So you just say you're running an event, right? Mm-hmm. You can tag that event page in different ways. You can say we've got this event, and we want to see if people are clicking from Facebook, Instagram, on the website, and things like that. So you don't just tag the event; you tag the event multiple times to see, if people are actually coming from Facebook, Instagram, and things like that. Mm. I think maybe what you've done with your tags is maybe this is a tag for social media, right? You're using this tag for social media, but you're not differentiating by page. That's maybe something you may want to do.
Yeah, because I see like multiple social media tags. It's not like I've set up all of them, because so you are suggesting to like make them a little bit like longer titles and just
Well,
I mean,
firstly, I think, by the way, for people who don't know what tagging is, a quick tutorial of what tagging is. Okay, and it's really, really useful and important. So just say you've got an event. Right, so you guys do loads and loads of events. Perfect, really, really good. It's really good revenue source. Now, your event page, in order for people to buy tickets, you're going to socialize it. You're going to put it on Facebook, Instagram, X. You're going to send it out via WhatsApp groups, email groups. Maybe if you've got physical locations, you're going to have QR codes. Maybe you've got, say, 3 shops, and in the shops, you're going to have a QR code for the shop window. You're going to have a QR code for the till and things like that. Maybe you've got some resellers as well. So you want to incentivize resellers to go and sell this. Okay, so how do you know where people are clicking, scanning, and stuff like that? So what you do is you tag it. So you click more and you click add a tag. Okay, so just say you're going to do a Facebook post of the event, right? And you want to see how many people are coming through Facebook. So you do Facebook ads 2nd of the 2nd 2025. You press create, and all it does is you've got the URL, and then you've got question mark tag equals something, right? And then you post that to Facebook on that particular ad. When people click on that and make a purchase, that tag will be saved in the purchase record. And so you know that that ad has generated 10 purchases, right? Now, say you do one the following week. So you want to update this, right? So you do one 7, 8, 9, right? You press create, and then you don't actually need to do this. You can just put tag equals whatever you want on the end. And then in the reports, you will then see how much money that particular Facebook has generated, okay? Or X, or Instagram, or WhatsApp groups. Or if it's your shop window, you can have shop window. Right now, you're not going to put this on the shop window, but you're going to put the QR code on the shop window. So when people scan that code, you know how many things are coming from the shop window. And then, maybe you got shop checkout, right? You put that QR code on the shop checkout. And so it's really important for you to, it's just so amazing tagging. It's such a simple technique. But when you start to realize where your supporters are clicking, where they're scanning, you actually know more about who your supporters are, but also you can then make management decisions on how much to focus on particular, paths of communication. So by the way, the shop window, the shop checkout, Facebook, Instagram, they're all what we call communication channels, right? And you shouldn't necessarily invest the same amount of time on all communication channels. So just say 50% of your traffic come through Facebook, you probably want to invest more, time and effort into Facebook, but you only know that when you use something like tagging. Okay, so I think as an organization, you probably want to have a tagging, I don't know, framework, But Carolina, I think what's happened so far is good. So you know how many things come through the website, but it could go down to that next level of detail. Right, okay, so that's tagging for you. Any questions on tagging? No? Who thinks tagging is useful? Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Super cool. Right, okay, so going back then to this now, you can then say group by tag, and you can put in your dates, and then whatever data comes out. Okay, so over the last year, as we've mentioned already, this is the income that you haven't tracked, so you don't know from where they came. You can actually drill down and see which page that came from, but you don't know from what source, from what entry point they came. So, just say all of that was generated via raffle. That would be cool, but it's obviously events and stuff like that. But just say that was generated by a raffle. You don't know if people came from Facebook, Instagram, X, a shop window, a reseller. So you can give a reseller their own tag. So Bradley, maybe you decided you wanted to be a reseller, for example. So you could give Bradley his own tag to the raffle, to the event page. You could see how much money Bradley has generated, and then you could reward him appropriately. Okay.
How would we do that in terms of, like, let's say we got 1,000 leaflets printed with one QR code, and we're then redistributing them everywhere? We can't then do anything with that, can we? Because we've already printed the QR code, and we can't sort of narrow it down as to where these
It
are.
was Bradley. We did use a tag on leaflets, so don't worry.
Yeah, but that's one tag on
Yes.
leaflets, and that's gone
Yeah.
everywhere. So we don't exactly know whether it was the school, whether it was the businesses, or do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, you can't.
is there a way of, like, really narrowing that down, or we
No,
just have to pick off
no.
various leaflets?
Yeah. By the way, the challenge with leaflets is that like you could say we're going to print 100 leaflets with one tag, 100 leaflets with another tag, 100 leaflets with another tag, but that turns out to be quite expensive, right? But you can do that. You just need. But at the moment, you've got a leaflet and you put a tag on the leaflet, so at least you know people are scanning from the leaflet. At least you know that. Okay. Just say you're distributing things to schools, though. Instead of giving a school a leaflet, you can give them their own QR code and their own link. And then you can say this school generated this amount of money. In actual fact, that's a really good way of, so we'll talk about community fundraising later on. But one nice aspect of community fundraising is your communities can, say, help you with your raffle. And to incentivize them, you can say, we're going to have a competition with all of our local schools, right? And how we track who's winning is we give each school their own tagged link and QR code. When they go and socialize their QR code, you know that, you know, Farnham Primary generated £300 and Farnham Junior generated £500. Okay, so digitally it's a lot faster, but as soon as you start printing stuff, it becomes a little bit more expensive. So you just need to think, you know, the cost benefit analysis type thing. Okay. But the other thing as well is, Carolina, you said there's a couple of social media ones. There are a couple of social media ones, but that's only because the naming conventions aren't consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see? So just watch out for naming conventions as well.
So, like, we've got a social media advert for raffle and social media advert for, like, specific event. Then we need to include that in the link, don't we?
Yeah. So So the good thing about this, at least you know X amount comes from this tag, but it may be more beneficial that what is that broken down into? Was that the ad for the raffle? Was that the ad for the members lottery? Was that the ad for the donation ask?
So through the process of creating that report, is there a way of, like, tagging specific page and then tags, just so to include, like, let's say a raffle tags only, or no? Can you do that?
So the tag can be anything you want it to be, literally anything. So I was just thinking before you said that, what you can do, and you know, like each page has a page address. You could as an organization, you need a convention for tagging, right? So what you could actually do is you could use the page address. So the tag could be that. Because the page addresses have to be unique. Oh, does that make sense? No, that doesn't make sense because, well, okay, the tag needs to be a combination, I would suggest, of the page address plus the channel you're pushing it onto.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, for example, a tag could be Facebook ad, or FAD hyphen the date of the ad hyphen the website address, and therefore you've got a consistent what channel, what date, and what page. Yeah. So actually, that's really good. I think that's really good learning from this. Have a consistent way of defining the tags, and then everyone can interpret what they mean, right?
Yeah.
And even things like tagging the channel, you could have like FAD for Facebook ads. You could have X for X. You know what I mean? You could have L for leaflet, and then hyphen, and then the date, and then hyphen, and then the page. You know, the page website address. and that could work really nicely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, no problems. Okay, so coming back then to these reports, they're all refinements of the income report, which is amazing. And the key thing here is that management information is just at your fingertips, right? All the fundraisers should have access to that so they can make quick decisions. Okay. Now, beyond those reports, we also have these reports as well. So the quick reports is based on the income report, but if you click on menu and then reports, these are all the other reports. And there are about 35 of them. So there's reports in every area. So for example, this is who's purchased what tickets for raffles. This is who's won what prizes. For events, this is who's purchased what tickets, how much stock is there left on a particular event page. For memberships, who's purchased what memberships, membership stock reports, who's coming to the end of their membership, for example. And so generally there's an item report or a couple of them for each area. So remember, you've got the income report that talks about the purchase, and then you've got the corresponding item reports. Okay, an example of that is 10 tickets in an item report. The income report will show one line, which is the purchase itself. Right, okay. Going back to the control panel then, you've also got your launch pages, and I don't know how much you use these launch pages. So what is a launch page? A launch page is just an area that shows all your different fundraisers and whatnot. So what the wall shows you, the wall shows all of the pages that you, and by the way, the look and feel, if you want it updated at any time, just let us know. So I think that this look and feel, it's a nice image, but it can look a lot better. It could be structured a lot nicer. But anyway, that's up to you guys. But what the wall shows, it shows all the different types of fundraisers that you as an organization set up, all your supporters set up supporting you. And it really answers that question. If somebody's on social media and they say, okay, who's doing what type of fundraiser? You know, what are you guys doing? You could actually send them to the wall and they could browse about all the different things that, you know, different people are doing, and just say they see the auction, they can then click on it and interact with the auction. Okay. Now, I don't think you use it that much, and this is the reason why. The reason why I don't think you use it that much, and you may want to, is that, so this is Salt of the Earth, and they've got a branded platform. And let's check out their wall and compare it to your wall. Okay. So firstly, they've renamed it, instead of We Are Beams wall, they've renamed it to support existing projects. And on here, what they've done is they describe their projects, which are ultimately campaigns. We'll come back to campaigns. And so this page actually gives me as a supporter an idea of where they're raising money, which area of fundraising, or sorry, which campaign they're raising money. Just say like village sponsors, health programs, child sponsorship. And then I can drill down into this, and then I can see how I can support the child sponsorship project or campaign. And in this case, I can make a donation to it. I can see the video. I can sponsor the children themselves. Okay. The reason why this is very good is in fundraising, you don't want to start off saying donate to Beams. You really don't want to do that. One of the rules, I always say number one rule, there's lots of number one rules, but one of the rules in fundraising is the more specific you make the fundraising ask, the more people would engage in that fundraising ask. So what you actually want to do is you want to say, we are Beams, we are specifically raising money for this particular area, that particular area, and that particular area. And then once you've identified those, you then go to your supporters and we're saying we're raising money for these three areas. So you're giving your supporters choice of which area to support We Are Beams. And then once you've identified those areas or those campaigns, then you give them choice of how they financially contribute. So you can have a raffle page, donation page, auction page, event page for each of the campaigns, or you can have those pages crossing across campaigns. Okay. So if we come back to here again, or rather, if we come back to here, this is really good for Salt of the Earth because it's actually communicating to supporters. We're Salt of the Earth. They could say, just give us money and we'll go and do stuff with that. But that's not particularly engaging for the supporter. It's not really communicating out, what sort of this is actually doing. So this is really good because this is actually communicating out what they're actually raising money for. And then I can drill, like just take ethical pits, then I can drill down into it, and then I can see how I can financially support it.
Nathan,
Yeah.
you know the wall. Is it possible to rearrange the way that each of those sections appear? I notice depending on whether I select or unselect things, the order sort of changes on the campaign wall.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things you can do on this. Right, so there's a couple of things you can do. Fundraising wall. You can configure the wall and you can create launch page messages. So
I might not be a super admin then because I haven't got that configure the fundraising wall, I don't think.
okay, do you want to be the super? What's your email address?
Oh, okay, it's aisha.barrett@wearebeings.org.uk. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So by the way, this is an example of how you can change somebody's role. So find Aisha, and I just click super admin, and now you're a super admin.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Okay. Right. Okay. So if we come back here again on the wall, so let's just check out your wall again. So your wall is a bit messy just because it's got everything on there. Okay. So you can click configure the wall. And what this allows you to do, it allows you to turn off and on any particular content category. Okay. So I could clear all, update the page, and then if I redo it, nothing will appear. Okay. So then the question is, what do you actually want to communicate on your wall? What is it really? What's your wall for? So if you are like Salt of the Earth, what you want to put on there are probably, so you can display the total generated on the wall, the about tile. So you probably want to describe about We Are Beams.
So I did create a campaign most recently for one of our corporates. I wasn't trying to change the main wall, but I created a campaign. And I did all of this selecting the bits that I want for them. But then I realised I couldn't arrange it in a way that sort of flowed nicely.
Yeah, so there are some tiles that are placed, but there are some things that are randomized. Okay. Yeah, so things like about and this, there are specific placements for them. But then generally a lot of the pages, they're randomized but in chronological order.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So, but anyway, feedback in terms of what you'd like to do, and then we evolve our platform in terms of how you guys use it or how you guys would like to use it. Right? Okay. So anyway, just say your wall was, so it just talked about who you are, and anyway, whatever that is, you can again just turn on any of these things. So for example, just say donations. You can display donation pages. You can display the actual donations made on the donation pages. You can display the total. You can display the ability that somebody can create a donation page on that page. And you can also display the ability that somebody can create an in-memory page on that page. So you can see that even within the donations area, there's a lot, the intent of the wall can change depending on what you turn on and what you turn off. Okay. So for example, you may actually not want people to set up donation pages. However, you may want to display your donation pages, and you may want to display fundraising pages, and you may want to display the ability that people can set up their own fundraising pages. Yeah. Or you may want to display your raffles. And do you want people to create their own raffles? You need to decide yes or no. Same with tombolas, same with events. Okay, we want to show our events. Same with memberships. Same with auctions. Do you want people to create auctions? Same with lotteries. Same with members' lotteries. Right, gift vouchers, shops, live meetings, campaigns. So Salt of the Earth, they displayed their campaigns primarily, but they didn't display the ability that people could set up their own pages from that page. That came later on in the campaign area. Okay, so if I click on update now, the wall looks totally different. So yes, I can set up a campaign if I want. Sorry, I can set up a raffle page if I want, but it's really primarily showing all the different fundraisers that you and your supporters have set up. Okay, so I think one of these actions out of here is you should think about the intention of your wall, but it's a really good, if anything, I would define all of your fundraising in terms of campaigns, and then describe the campaigns on here. And then it answers that question: what areas are you raising money for? You can point them to the wall, they can come to the wall, and they can drill down into how to financially support those.
Can you take out the old ones? I see you put raffle in, but you've got both at the top, top of the page. You have the 2025 raffle
Yeah.
on the right, in the middle, the summer, so that's old.
Yeah.
And you've got summer raffle 24, but we haven't got the one that's actually running, which is the Christmas one now, I don't think. Because I missed it.
Right, so you can, and I'll show you how to do that. But again, it comes down to the intention of things. So sometimes people like to see a history of your fundraising over time. So if you took out the 2024, people couldn't see what happened in 2024. So, but you can still take it out. So your wall could just have all of your current fundraisers on, right? That's one way of describing it. Or it could just have your campaigns that you're raising money for, but not the underlying fundraisers. Or it could show, or it could show a history of fundraisers themselves. So really think about the intention of this. And then what you do is, once you understand the intention, so just say it's a history of all of your fundraisers over the last 3 years, then you give it to the social media team to go and publish, and that's a conversation itself. Check out all the amazing fundraisers we've done over the last few years, right? Or if the intention of you all then becomes just describing your campaigns, then when you're communicating that out, it's a totally different conversation, isn't it? It's like, check out all the things we're raising money for this year. They'll go to their wall, they'll see, they'll choose which area they want to support, they'll drill down into that, and then they'll then financially support. So the wall is quite a powerful tool, and you need to think about how you're going to use it. And by the way, you can change the use of it over time as well, right? So you could, for example, configure the wall so it shows historically all of the fundraisers and people, and then when you're communicating it out, it's like seeing what we've done over the last 3 years. Thank you very much, everyone. You've been amazing. And then a month later, you reconfigure it to show the campaigns. And then you're communicating that out. Oh, check out for the next year what we're fundraising for. Check out our wall. So again, it can be a dynamic page, right? Now, going back to if you just wanted to show your current fundraisers, so can I turn off this? Yes, so you can turn things off on the page level. So when you log in, just say you wanted to turn off that raffle, go to view, update, delete raffle pages, and just say you wanted to turn off this one. If you click update and you click more, you've got, is it more? Let's have a look. Yeah, you've got page visibility. So this page itself, by default, it's going to appear on your hub, on your wall, on campaign pages, and in the search results. You can say, I don't want this page to appear on the wall or the hub, or in campaigns, so use that as well to tailor what you're communicating.
Sorry, that search results, is it Google or just people fundraising search?
People's fundraising.
Okay, thank you.
Unfortunately, we don't have control of Google. So, okay, so that's your wall. And again, it can answer different questions depending how you configure it. So it can answer, what's all the history of fundraising pages? It can answer what campaigns are you raising money for? It can answer what current fundraisers are going on at the moment, right? And you should use it for that. Right, so you've got your hub as well. The hub is a slightly different beast in it, and it answers a slightly different question. So if you view your hub, what it shows, the question it answers is, if a supporter comes to you, they could be an individual supporter, community supporter, or company supporter. And just say it's a company, and the company comes to you and they say, look, we really want to set up a fundraiser for you. What sorts of things can we do? You can send them to your fundraising hub, and it will show all the different pages that you allow your supporters to set up to support you, and also the campaigns that they can also support. All right. So, for example, just say I'm a company and I want to support you. I don't want to give you money, but we manufacture widgets. So me as a company, I'm willing to allocate 10 widgets to support you as an organization. So as a company, I can come here, I can set up a shop, right, which is great. How cool, a local company can come and set up a shop. But I can also choose my campaign, and this is where you need to be campaign focused, right? You need to, as a company, these aren't really making me feel super cool, right? So you really need to become campaign focused. So I'm a company, I set up my shop, and I click Beams in general. I personally set up my own shop page, and I sell widgets, and you get the money. Or just say I'm a school supporting you. Let's set up an event as a school. Let's run a tombola at the same time, and you get the money. Or if I'm an individual and I don't want to do I don't want to walk up Bun Nevis, maybe I'm going to run a raffle as an individual. I go and create my own raffle. I socialize that with my work colleagues, etc. Okay, so the fundraising hub answers a very specific question. I'm an individual, I'm a community, or I'm a company. I want to set up a fundraising page to support you, and it shows all the different things that I can do to set up. Okay. Now you can turn off the things you allow your supporters to do as well. So if we look at another fundraising platform, so this is Young Life in the UK. They're a national charity. They've got a branded platform. It supports maybe about 30 or 40 Young Life branches around the country. That means every Young Life branch has the full fundraising capability and whatnot. They're a Christian organisation. And so what they've done is they've turned off a lot of things that they don't want their supporters to do. So if I'm a supporter of Young Life, I can only set up a donation page, fundraising page, team page, or event page. Okay, so you can also do that on yours if you choose. Now, if it turns out that I actually don't want to set up a page, then the hub will also show all of the pages that you or your supporters have set up as well. So, I'm browsing and saying, okay, maybe I don't want to set up a shop now. Okay, wow, you guys have got a raffle. Again, you can turn that off on the page level. Okay, let's do the summer 2025. I drill down into it, and then I make the purchase. Okay. So the hub is a really, really useful page, and especially when you're communicating, say, out on social media, you want to have lots of different conversations. One conversation is we're raising money for this, we're raising money for that. Another conversation is if you want to see a history of what we've been doing. Another conversation is if you want to set up a fundraiser, and you're pointing people to different pages all the time. But when you're having that conversation or somebody asks you, you send them to the fundraising hub. And you could have all of these things on your website, but you haven't. So it's there for you should you want. Right, any questions on walls and hubs? No? Hopefully you can see there's more utility to them now, which is good. Okay.
No, sorry, how do we create like templates and things like that so that we can change up how things look, whether it's for a campaign or for like an events page? Can we do that ourselves so we can play around with colours and pictures and whatever else, or does it have to be through you?
Yeah, so things that change infrequently, we will change. Things that change often, like setting up pages and stuff, you manage yourself. So the look and feel, we would change it. So you would really, so things like look and feel, it's an art in itself, right? So, and this is why we say to charities, get a designer, get them to design the page, and then they'll give us the page layouts and stuff like that, and then we'll implement it. But yeah, the look and feel, you tell us how you want it to be updated, and then we'll update it accordingly. Okay.
So I wouldn't be able to just, like, if I'm creating one of my own events, I wouldn't be able to just have a bit of autonomy over the way that event appears.
Not how it looks, right? So you can turn off and on certain things on a page level, but in terms of how it looks, like how this looks here, like with these colors,
like the background and all that.
Yeah, that's us. Now, the reason why we do that is because we tried it out on people's fundraising where people could create their own themes, and people are not very good at it. So we think we're saving you from yourself, and literally get a designer or the person who designed your website. Allow them to do it. But also, so it's not just the general look and feel, it's things like the themes as well. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, the themes.
So we still upload the themes for you, but you tell us what sort of things that you want, what colors, what images, and all of that you want. But once you've decided on colors, images, and whatnot, then we will implement it for you, and then the themes will just be available for you. Okay. Right. Let me show you an example of really good theming.
Could you have like standard Christmassy themes ready for us, for example, for any of our Christmas events that we could just whack on without details, but like colours and that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. So you want to get to a place whereby these aren't specific, they're actually quite generic. Well, in actual fact, you can do both, right? So why not, if you've got a specific look and feel for the 2025 ball one, yeah, why not have a specific theme for that? But you want to have also, or you should have, some general raffle themes, event themes, run up Ben Nevis theme and whatnot. So, for example, on People's Fundraising, I don't know if you've seen on People's Fundraising, but we've probably got 100 or so different themes. Okay,
What
so
used, do you mean?
no, this is just an example of generic ones, and so you need to build up your own library essentially. So if this is the default look and feel for a donation page on People's Fundraising, then literally a theme can be anything you want it to be. So, for example, I have no idea what this is. Right, this is a little cute tabby cat, or this one. Right, and how beautiful is that for a theme? But this is now generic, and so anyone on People's Fundraising can use this. Now, I'm not suggesting that you use our themes. The point of your branded platform is that even though you may have themes that, like a Christmas raffle theme, it should still have the beams like imprint on it somewhere, and these are just generic themes. But the key thing that I'm communicating here is, like, this is a cool little disco theme. Look at that. That's cool. Disco party. Right. You just tell us how, what images, what colors, and we will it takes us a couple of minutes to set up, but you need to communicate those images and colors. And then you're going to have like a library of generic branded beams themes. All right. Is that okay? Right. And yeah, going back to a good example. So this is YMCA Black Country. Right. So they actually had a designer to do their themes. And so this is a generic theme for a donation page. I mean, how beautiful is that? Just this, it's really good. But let's look at some of their others. Okay, so this is a training and education. By the way, you don't always need a banner image at the top. That's just, for some reason, people like to have a banner image at the top. You just don't need to have that, but you can if you want, right? But what they've done here is they've put a relevant image, but they've kept to their charity color palette, and they've just, modified the colors appropriately, right? And I think this is a good example of, it looks quite professional and it's still aligned with their charity's look and feel. Okay. Whereas the ones on People's Fundraising, they're just nice. Some of them are nice imagery. Now, so you want to ultimately get to that position whereby you have some generic themes, but just say you're working with a company partner, you may want to create specific themes for those company partners to solidify the relationship, or as part of the value exchange, right? So when you're going to a company, you can say, you can fundraise for us. You can say, well, there's lots of reasons why companies want to want to engage with you, there's lots of ways they can actually generate income while working with you as well. But for example, one of the things they want is that value, that association between yourselves and themselves. So, when they show their staff, family and friends a donation page or event page, their staff, family and friends, there's sentiment uplift. They feel great about that company because they can see the company logo with beams. And that's just great. So, when you're working with communities, companies, just say you've got a membership page where companies can become members of Beams with different benefits. One benefit is we will give you your own fundraising area, and that will be a campaign wall. But another one, maybe for a little bit more expensive, it's going to cost them a little bit more, is we give you your own fundraising area where you can do your CSR fundraising, but we will also give you a fully, a company branded one as well. So for the company, it's more valuable for them. Right. Any questions on that? Themes? No. Okay. All right. So then we come to campaigns. You should totally be more campaign focused. I think you're starting to do it, but you're starting in the right direction. So whatever birthday fundraisers are, great. So obviously it's fundraisers related to birthdays. And so I'm assuming if I click on that, I'm going to see all the fundraising, all the fundraisers for birthdays, right? Now, okay, so you've nearly got it. So this is the intention of this is, I'm assuming, show all the birthday fundraisers. Okay, so it's a bit messy, isn't it? Right? It's showing lots of stuff. Okay.
Nathan, the most recent one was done this week. It's the Elite M&E campaign.
Let's have that.
That one, yeah.
This one. Okay, what is that? What's the intention?
So I've just set that up for a corporate because they want to do an initial donation and then do lots of challenge events and everything where their customers and their employers chip in.
Okay, right. So if I now click on here, then okay, nice. So you got their logo there, which is something. So that's like level 1 of value for them, right? When a company comes to you, when a company comes to you, they want to do something. Never think that they're giving you stuff for free, or you should be thankful, right? Always think about, they are getting something of business value, and you are getting something of value as well to your organization. So, they're going to show this to their employees, clients, family, and friends, and it's like Elite M&E. Just because these two are side by side, just because they're on, beams, that is going to create a really good, nice sentiment uplift amongst their client, employees, family, and friends, right? So that is value exchange in itself. Okay. Now you can enhance this as well. Oh, by the way, you're doing this, starting to do this really, really well. By the way, you can enhance this. So you could give Elite M&E their own theme, right? Now you could potentially charge them for that. Why not? But you could give them their own theme and say when they come here, this page will look more like their website, but they still obviously want that brand association. Okay, right. Now, if we look at how you can configure it, yeah, well done. You're starting to do it really well. So you're configuring it quite nicely. So you can turn off lots of things, which you're starting to do, which is great. Launch page messages. Have you used these? Once. Okay. Well, that's really good. So just check out Elite M&E. Have they got their website here? Oh, okay. That's what you've done here, right? That's a launch page message. But with launch page messages, just note that you can add images and you could add YouTube videos and all of that sort of stuff to it. So, for example, if Elite M&E have a nice corporate video, you can embed that into the page, or you can, have some images of maybe a fundraiser that they did and some images of the staff coming together and celebrating, the amazing stuff that they've done to support you. Okay. Now, why would you want to do that? Now, you want to do that because the question is, why, or how and why are Elite M&E using this page? Okay. So Elite M&E, they may have like a department who are saying, okay, we're supporting Beams and we're going to set up a company raffle, and we're going to use this page that people can come to the raffle, and maybe we're going to do some fundraisers as well. Okay, so essentially what you've got there is you've got a company department-led fundraising where the company themselves saying, look, come and make a donation to our Elite M&E Beams page or enter the raffle. So that's one function. Another function is that the company also allow their staff to come to this page for the staff themselves to set up their own fundraising pages. Okay, and that's a different function that companies provide their staff. But that's really important. So if you're going to allow that, then yes, you want things like, you want to enable the function of, I can set up a fundraising page, I can set up a raffle, I can set up an event page. But then you can have a conversation with the company and you can say, look, yeah, there are different purposes for it. One is you drive what your employees, client, family, friends can do. Another is your employees, client, family, and friends can set up their own type of fundraising pages. What ones would you like your employees, clients, family, and friends to do? And we'll enable the ability for them to set those up. Okay. Now, because the Elite M&E are going to direct their employees, clients, family, and friends to this more because they want that sentiment uplift. They want their employees to make donations. But in actual fact, they want their employees to do more interesting things like enter raffles and stuff. And they want their employees to set those up. This is where the launch page messages come in really nicely. So at the moment, there's a little bit about M&E, but imagine having a couple of company videos on there that is talking a little bit more about what Elite M&E are doing. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about that is, who are those videos for? Those videos are for the staff, employees, family, and friends to look at when they come to these page. It's not for anyone else. Because again, what Elite M&E want to do with respect to their employees, client, family, and friends is to, show their employees, clients, family, and friends all the amazing things they're doing. Again, sentiment uplift as well. So you want to maybe update these with a few Elite M&E videos and stuff like that. Okay. But yeah, if there are certain ways you think this needs to be updated in terms of repositioning, just let us know. Okay. Now, the other thing you can do is you can put you can add another button here. So if I click update, let's come here.
And it actually asked me if I can make the logo any bigger and sort of centralize it rather than having it off on the side. Is that possible?
So that will be more of a theme. Yeah. So remember, there's a certain structure you have to work within. I think you could actually upload a bigger image, and the image will try and resize. But try and upload a bigger image, not necessarily more dense, but a bigger image.
This one was quite massive, and then it obviously shrunk into that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a big deal. They haven't moaned since. I think it looks okay, but it could be better. It needs to be a theme then, right?
Yeah, a theme. And the other thing as well, remember, you can add launch page messages whereby their logos, and pictures of their staff and their previous fundraising can appear all over here. And then again, for staff, family, and friends, it's now, instead of them managing on their intranet their space where they talk about all their fundraising, this now becomes that page for the company. And you can see how this is quite an important value exchange now. So the IT department don't need to be, the HR saying, look, we're doing this stuff with Beams. Can you set up as a web page? They don't need to do that anymore. They just need to focus on their business. And you take that function of showing, all the charity stuff that company is doing.
So they would just need to send me their sort of wall content and I just whack it on.
Yeah.
Because I create the page, so they can't do it themselves, can they?
Yeah, not at the moment, no.
Okay.
Yeah. But can you see that business benefit? Because it's really important to understand that business benefit.
Also, we can embed our videos on there, can't we? Like the tours, tour of the facilities, for example, so the employees can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's dead easy to do.
It's Elite Electricians something.
So if you want to embed, this doesn't look like it, does it? But just say it was. you would click share. You would copy the share link. you would create a launch page message, our party, our recent gathering. You put in the share URL, you click that, and then it's going to be on the page.
Okay, yeah, I get you.
You know, it's quite nice. But again, the key thing here is you are supporting their business operations in terms of CSR. So they now don't need to bother their IT department with creating that page, talking about all the fundraising stuff. This is now that business function.
All right.
Okay.
I forget to delete that because they're going on it today.
All right, they can just press delete. Hopefully it's gone. There's a bug.
Thank you. That makes sense.
Okay, cool. All right, so their campaigns, and again, you really need to be more campaign focused. So I love what you're doing with companies, but you really need to highlight, and you're doing it quite a lot with companies, which is really great. This shouldn't be a campaign, I don't think. This should have just been a fundraising page or an in-memory page. So it's tribute to Alfred Story. Generally, you create a campaign whereby you've got multiple different types of fundraising tools or revenue streams supporting something. Okay.
So, like, for example, we've got a Make a Will week coming up next year.
Yeah.
Would that be a campaign, and then? Yeah, but then the only revenue would be people donating because of their will, wouldn't it?
So no, that's a really good point, actually. So you could create a campaign that's Make a Will, and then you don't have any fundraising pages linked to it, but it's the information resource and page where people can read up about, what it means, and then they click the button to go and make their will.
Okay.
Right. In actual fact, do you know what I mean? If you're starting to have associations with solicitors, aren't you? So, for example, that Make a Will page could be, this is what it's all about, and this corporate partner, this solicitor helps you make wills, and then every time you've got a company that supports you making wills, you're adding them to the page. So, I don't know if you're making the will, you're only going to one provider, but as part of, for example, engaging with Burkitt solicitors, you could say, you know what, do you guys make wills? As part of the partnership, or you giving us some more money, we will put a link to our Make a Will campaign. Now the key thing to realize, I was chatting to Age UK, Leicestershire and Rutland about this the other day. They had a pub that came to them and they said, you know what, we're going to give 3 hours of free drinks. Well, you can get 3 drinks most. So we're going to give 3 hours time whereby anyone that you invite can get 3 free drinks. Okay. And they were like, great. And so they socialized it on their Facebook and stuff like that. And we were talking about that and we were saying, okay, that's good, but what are you as a charity getting from that? Okay. And if you think about it, they've just given their charity audience to that company for virtually nothing. Okay. So you need to think about you guys. You've got a following who love what you do, and you're gatekeeping that community. Okay. So, for example, Burkitt solicitors, you create your campaign, which is Make a Will. And Burkitt, you now say to Burkitt solicitors, you can give us money for it, or it's part of the relationship. We will put Burkitt solicitors, Make a Will with Burkitt solicitors, and maybe you've got some other partners as well, whatever solicitors. But for them, you are a gatekeeper to your audience, to your charity following. For them, you become like a marketing function. So that is really tangible value exchange for the business. Again, don't think they're giving you anything free. They're not. Burkitt solicitors, they want to have the association between yourselves and their selves, because it's always good for companies to support charities for sentiment uplift. But it's a different value exchange where you say to them, we're creating a sign up for your will thing. We will put you on there, and therefore you can access our supporter base, which we market, but it's going to cost you. Can you see that? It's all about you understanding the value exchange. You understanding that you are gatekeepers for this wonderful group of supporters of a certain demographic, of a certain background and stuff like that, that businesses want to engage in on lots of different levels.
And then I'm thinking on the other side of things as well. For example, some of our most successful events are Joy's afternoon teas, and they will run like clockwork, you know, for a year. And I'm thinking if maybe we could have like a whole campaign for that, and then any updates about afternoon teas, whatever theme, whatever it is all going to be on one page. Shout outs for the sponsors, all of that could all be under a campaign, couldn't it? And then she could have her ticket sales on there as well.
That's right. So I'm loving how you're thinking now. So your campaign should be either associations with business, so business can show what they're doing, or it can be a general theme. We're doing the afternoon teas, but also, and importantly, you really have to show what you guys are fundraising for, not just your themes, right? So what are you guys fundraising for? You know, what is it that you're so for example, if you're a school or PTA, to say, your campaigns that people can totally understand could be, we're raising money for new equipment for the playground. That's one campaign. Or we're raising money for new books for the library. Or we're raising money to support low income kids over summer, right? And you can see the school itself, it's not just give us money to the school and we do stuff with it. It's like I as a parent can now choose which area I'm going to support the school in. And this is where you need to become stronger. Yeah. It's not give Beams money. It's Beams are doing these amazing things. Give us money to support those amazing things.
Specific projects.
Like you're reducing social isolation while supporting Beams. There's a lot of benefits we're giving.
Yeah.
Projects for the money coming for specific things in the charity though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to just donate.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, you're starting to use campaigns and the associated campaign walls quite well. Feedback how you want things to be updated and whatnot, how you want pages to be updated. But yeah, you're doing pretty well, but you can improve. Okay. All right, so once you've created your campaigns, so you give people choice of which area to support you in. Then you set up multiple different types of pages to support those campaigns themselves. And that's really important. It's all about choice for your supporters. Choice of which campaign, and then once I'm focused on a campaign, choice of how to financially support that campaign. So with your need campaign, so I don't know if that's the right phraseology, but the need campaign is analogous to PTA raising money for playground equipment, books, and low-income kids. So they're the needs. So let's just call those need campaigns as opposed to business campaigns or theme campaigns or topic campaigns or something. What was I saying? Anyway, I've forgotten what I was saying there. Right, okay, so
It's a choice of campaign and a choice of how they give.
Yeah, that's it. So for example, for each of your need campaigns, you could have a donation page for each of them. You know, when you're doing your afternoon teas, you could say, for example, you know, this is supporting this campaign, or this is supporting that campaign, or this is supporting all of the campaigns. Yep. So it's all about choice. Now, in terms of company and community fundraising, there's another way to use campaigns. Okay, or there's another way to use the platform. So just say you engage with a school. Okay, and the thing with schools is they need to fundraise for themselves also. Okay, so why would a school ever fundraise for you? Well, they would fundraise for you if there's some value exchange there. Okay, now the value exchange could be something like, okay, the CEO is going to come into the school and talk about the area of your expertise, and then maybe the school will give them some money, right, for example. Or you could just say you ran an event with the school, okay, and you could say, okay, it's all about obviously generating income. The school, you could say, okay, let's split the income then. You know, we're going to sell tickets, and then 50% of the money is going to go to the school, and then 50% of the money is going to come to us. So that's a really important thing when it comes to community and company fundraising. it's not just you can give communities and companies the ability that they can do CSR stuff with campaign walls and that association, but you've now can work with any community and company whereby you're splitting revenue, and that's really, really important. Okay, now it's really important because there are a small amount of companies who are going to give you free stuff, right? And there's a slightly larger amount of companies who benefit from that value association. Yeah. So the solicitors benefit them from the value association. I'm a solicitor, and I'm working with Beams, and we're local to each other, and I can show my employees, family, and friends I'm supporting a local charity. So then my employees, client, family, and friends will think of me in a better light. So that's a business benefit. And there's also a business benefit that I can advertise to Beams, client base as well. But it's a totally different thing, whereby, just say you're Burkitt solicitors, you can, I like the school example better. You do a shared event, but instead of just saying we're a charity, give us all the money, it's like we're going to sell tickets. You're going to advertise to the kids and the parents. We're going to advertise to our client base, and we're going to split the money. And there are loads, hundreds and hundreds of communities. It could be a sports clubs, it could be Rotary clubs, it could be schools and businesses who will engage with you because they can either have their costs covered or they can generate more income by engaging with you. And by the way, in terms of that, have you thought about doing those sorts of engagements, team?
I mean, it's not far off what we do when we're advertising like sponsorships for events and things as well. But yeah, this seems like a way to make that less time limited, maybe. But yeah, no, I think we're on a similar track to what you're thinking.
Good. Now here's an example then. So I gave the example of Age UK, Leicestershire and Rutland. A business came to them and they said, 3 hours, 3 free drinks, amazing. And so what Age UK did, they advertised on their social media platforms, and I think it's going live tomorrow or something. I think we may be able to see it then. What's that? Age UK. Let's see if it's still there. There's a scammer. Okay, it's here, right? So Kate O'Brien's came to them and they said, we're going to give free drinks for like 3 hours. And so what Age UK did, they said, that sounds really great, and so they've used their social media channels and other channels to go to their client base and to say, you can do this. Now, what the company's done, the company has evaluated from the business perspective how many free drinks and stuff like they can give, right? And so the company knows exactly what they're getting from this relationship. So the Age UK clientele are going to go to this, and some of them are going to be repeat customers. And so what they've done on a business perspective, they've done the calculations and they know that they're going to generate income into the future. But what are Age UK going to get? Nothing. Other than it's a nice post, and some of the old folks will have 3 free drinks. So we were talking about how they could essentially turn that around. So it not only benefits the company, but also it benefits Age UK. And so what they're going to do now is, in the future for this company, but also other companies, is they're going to have a shop whereby somebody can buy discounted drinks. Okay, or something. It could be food or whatever, but in this case, drinks. And then Age UK will publish that to their client base. Those clients will then buy those discounted drinks. Maybe they're like 90% off or something, right? And then those clients will go into the bar and they will redeem their drinks that they bought via Age UK. So what Age UK have got then is they've got that value of that purchase. Whereas in this scenario, they haven't got any value at all, right? So that's an example of, understanding that in this case, how they've done it is the business only benefits. But if you turn it on its, if you think about it in a slightly different way, Age UK could be the gate. They need to be aware they're gatekeepers to their audience, And so they get the money for the discounted drinks, they get that literal money, and then, you know, they go into the pub. So the pubs still get exactly their business benefit, but it's just that, you know, Age UK have explicitly got some benefit for the charity as well. And you can do that with any business, for example. That's just one example. You know, but obviously that type of arrangement is very different from working with a school on a shared event and splitting the money, right? Did that make sense, by the way? That was quite a cool example, right? Did we like that, team? Good, right. Okay, so we've done our campaigns now, and now we've got all of our different fundraising tools. Okay. Now, remember that when you set up any of these pages, obviously you can split the money between different campaigns, but also, as we've described, you can split the money between any other community or company partner, right, which is a massive advantage. But also, we've got something called Impact Champions. Who knows about Impact Champions? No. Right. What an Impact Champion is it's another way of generating more traffic to your pages and therefore more purchases to your pages. Okay. So this comes from the perspective of just saying you're doing an event with a local school and you're going to split that money 50-50 already, right? So are there other ways? And that local school is going to advertise your event and you're going to advertise the event, and you've got two people advertising the same event, and hopefully that 50% is going to be more than it would have been if you just did that event yourself. So that's the rationale for it. Okay. So with that in mind, what's an Impact Champion? So just take your Christmas raffle 2025. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take the link and the short link and the QR code, and you're going to socialize it, but you're going to tag the links and the QR code so you know where people are clicking and whatnot. Okay, which is fine. Now, just imagine you know an influencer, somebody with 100,000 followers. Okay, wouldn't it be great if that influencer, or if there was a business, you know, with loads of staff, if they publicized your raffle more? Okay, well, that influencer with 100,000 followers, they may do it because they just want to give you something for free. Or, again, this is where you need to start thinking in terms of partnerships. What you can do is you can say, we recognize you're an influencer and we recognize you're a gatekeeper to your 100,000 followers, and that's your income stream. So yes, thank you very much for socializing our raffle that we did a month ago. And we know you can't keep on socializing our things for free because that's your own income stream. So what you can do is you can say, oh, you've done it here already. That's interesting. You can say, you can assign a percentage to the page, right? And what this means is as soon as you assign an Impact Champion percentage, what then happens is that if you go to search, right, which one was it? Was it? Anyway, okay, no, I want to do this.
Raffle that doesn't seem to be showing up.
Okay, let's do
The one that's live, that one at the top.
That's because do you want it turned on? Is it live?
Yes, it's live. I'm not sure if it was turned off earlier when we did the...
It was probably turned off when you were setting it up. That's what I was doing. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show it on all the pages, but also I'm going to set an Impact Champion of 5%, right? Okay. Now, what this now allows you to do is, if we go here again, right, you'll get this here, okay? And so if I'm searching, I can now essentially have my own link and QR code, okay? And then what Impact Champions allow you to do, for each page, it will say how much the split is that I will get. So I'm an influencer. I get my own link and QR code, essentially built on tagging, right? And every time somebody makes a purchase via that link and QR code, I'm given the percentage that you've assigned to giving the Impact Champion. So in this case, 5%. Okay, so what that means is that where there are sort of influencers or companies and things like that, where they're gatekeepers to a population of people, and that is their revenue stream, to incentivize them to not only get business benefit from your association, but to get business benefit from them receiving income for receiving your for generating money on that page. It's really quite a powerful technique. And then again, that means that now not only can you go out to communities and companies, for example, and say, do you want to do like 50-50 profit share? But now you can go out and you can go to, say, influencers or people with big networks, and you can say, look, let's work together. We're doing this raffle, we're doing this event, we're doing this donation page. We know that your 100,000 followers is your income stream. We want you to succeed in your relationship with your supporters, but also we want to support ourselves as a charity. Please take 10%, 5%, 15% from all of the income generated. Yeah. And so therefore, the idea here is you may, for example, be able to connect with a couple of influencers, but again, their relationship with their supporter is their revenue stream. They may do some stuff for you for free. This puts you on a more business footing where you're both succeeding at the same time. You're both either having your cost covered or generating income. Okay, and that's where charities need to start thinking. Stop asking for free stuff. Work with communities, work with companies that you both succeed at the same time. So impact champions is one way of doing that. Did that make sense, by the way? Because impact champions can be quite subtle for some people to understand. Was that all right? Okay. All right, so let's go into the different tools then. And any questions, by the way, in terms of how the tools are used, or are there any particular tools that you would like me to go into? Or shall I just go through some of the things I think you should be doing as well?
Hey, Nathan. Is it the right time to ask about event bookings at all?
Yeah.
So I noticed today, because obviously I'm running the Beams of Joy event that's currently live to book tickets on, and I walked through it with one of our customers today, and he found it difficult to use, and I noticed why, because when people are trying to book a ticket, it asks for a username and a fundraising target as well, with an asterisk next to it, so it's like it's mandatory. So obviously I was right next to him, so I could go, no, just click continue and you'll be able to bypass that and buy your ticket. But I wonder if that's affecting ticket sales for events at all, because obviously people don't have a username, don't need a username, they don't need a fundraising target. Can we adapt that in any way?
Can you show me which one it is?
It was the Beams of Joy networking evening.
Just tell me when I've got to it.
This one. Yeah, that one.
Okay. So it may have been configured incorrectly. Okay, so let's get tickets. So you don't need to. Okay, let's just see what it is.
Yeah, those are the steps that we did. No, and then it asks you for a username at the bottom and a fundraising target. Right.
Okay. So what you've done here, you've set it up incorrectly. Okay. So if I click update here, at the bottom it says, do you want your supporters to automatically create a fundraising page when signing up for this event? So the use case here is that you've got some London Marathon tickets, okay? And people give you like £20 to get those marathon tickets. But if this is set to yes, then a fundraising page can be set up at that point in time.
I've used it before and I must have just forgot to turn it off.
Yeah. That's what it is. So if I now click update and let's view that just won't be there anymore. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Just a little tick at the bottom.
Yeah. Now, the other thing as well is that all of our pages, we try to make as configurable, but as usefully configurable as possible. Okay, so do you actually send SMSs to your supporters?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Oh, you do. Do you do it by telephone?
We do ring them, yeah, especially corporates.
Yeah. So I suppose the only point I'm making is, for example, you can even tailor these as well. So you have to think, who's buying these? Are they individuals or whatnot? And so it's small things when setting up pages. So if I now go and click update on this now, if I click more and I've got page questions, if, for example, you never sent people, you never contacted people by telephone, you could actually turn those questions off. In actual fact, you can turn all questions off. Now, if I click on update again now, and I pay with stuff, look how small that is now.
Yeah.
So just take a bit of time to go through what are the different options that you can turn off and on.
All right. Well, I would probably just leave email on for that then, and phone.
Yeah. So let's just update that. But yeah, it's small things like that that can really change the usability. So let's go through a basic setup of a page, okay? So all pages have a page name and a page description, okay? On all pages, you can display the total generated on the page, the total number of supporters, and the share button. Now, when you're buying tickets, it's still a fundraising activity. So that's why you can display the total, right? It's not just buy tickets and then we're not telling you how much money. Sometimes it's quite nice to be transparent. And so, for example, say you're doing the masquerade ball and you've got a fundraising target and you've got a raffle, auction, lottery and stuff like that all supporting it. Why not have the total generated on the event tickets? Because it's letting people know how much has been generated through the ticket purchase. And then on the raffle page supporting the masquerade ball, how much is being generated, and on the tombola, how much has been generated. Okay, so on all pages you can say the total number of supporters and the share button, and on all pages you've got your unique website address. Okay, everything below that is then specific to the type of page it is, and then generically you can change the theme for any page. You can add as many images on any page, and that would appear in the about or description box. On any page, you can embed or link to your social media stuff. And by the way, what you can do on the platform, you can say, when we're setting up the page, automatically add email address, Facebook URL, Instagram, and things like that. So you can automatically add those if you want. Yeah. Now, also on the platform, you can say, when I'm setting up a page, automatically assign a theme. By the way, action on you guys, right? When anyone's setting up an event page, do you want a theme to be automatically assigned to it? So action on you, yes, no. If yes, tell us what the theme is and we'll configure that in the system. You can't automatically add images, but action on you guys, whenever you set up any page, do you want your socials to be automatically added to the page? If yes, tell us what they are, and then we will set that up as well.
Are they not already on there somewhere then?
No, they are, but because every page is configurable, for example, your event page, you're going to send it out, and you may want to put event specific URLs on and LinkedIn specific URLs, so it gives you that option. What I'm talking about here is that by default we can put We Are Beam socials on every page, irrespective you create it or your supporters create it, and that will give your pages some consistency in terms of what socials are advertised, but you can still come and update them if you want. And
definitely want that. I thought it was on there for everything.
Yeah, so we think you should do that because it helps in linking heuristics and all of that sort of stuff, right? So action on your side, tell us what the socials are, and we'll set that up. Okay, you can also embed documents into the page. This is a really, really cool thing. So just say the masquerade ball, and you're buying different tickets, and you may want to embed a PDF. So this could be a link to a PDF that talks about the menu for the night and talks about the proceedings for the night. How cool is that? So you can literally, if you've got the URL, you can link that in, or it could be an Excel spreadsheet, for example, or it can be a Word document. But generally, the idea here is you've got a link to a PDF, and that describes something about the event or not. And so again, for the masquerade ball, it could be the wine list even. You know what I mean? So little things like that really change the nature of interaction with a page. You've got a short description. Now the short description is displayed on search results and on your walls. So just say you've got a campaign, it's the masquerade campaign, you've got raffle, auction, lottery, gift voucher, shop. And when the event page appears, it will either show the long description or it will show the short description, if there's a short description. And the reason why you may want to use that sometimes is that long description just could be totally too long, and that will, it won't look good on your wall or on search results. So that's why you want to use the short description. Payment methods, you can obviously turn off and on payment methods. Most people pay the Google Pay, Apple Pay now, probably 85-90% of people. PayPal's really expensive. Some people are starting to turn that off, but it's really up to you. You aren't really using, no, you are using gift vouchers, but you probably need to push that more as a campaign. Okay, so remember with gift vouchers, you can create as many gift voucher pages as you like. The use case there is just say Christmas is coming. I don't know what to give my wife for Christmas. So I buy her a gift voucher. I can specify any amount of money for the, of the gift voucher. She gets that. She then becomes a supporter, and then she can redeem that against any page that enables the gift voucher payment method. So then she, just say I gave her £100. I don't know if that's stingy for Christmas or not, but she can then enter the raffle, enter an event, make a donation with that £100. Okay. But that's a really nice thing. I think you could push more as a conversation, say on your socials, and the conversation is, don't know what to get your wife for Christmas. Why not
Could we push it
What's that?
For businesses? They're allowed to spend £50 per employee for Christmas gifts. If we got a company to buy 100 gift vouchers for their staff to spend at themes, could that work?
Yeah, that's a perfect one. Now, what you can do, you can say to the company, you can go to our gift voucher page, and you buy, you use your card, you do the £100, or they can give you the £5,000, and you give them either the discount voucher or the gift voucher that you've entered as an offline payment. So what I mean by that, but by the way, Bradley, that's a great idea. Really, really good. So you've got a gift voucher page already, but you're not using it. Now, what I mean by that, oh no, you haven't. Oh, that's discount voucher. Sorry, discount voucher is something else. Right, so I thought you had a gift voucher page. Did you guys? Shop. What's this then? E-gift voucher. I don't know why that's not linking there. Anyway, I'll check that out. So you can either give the company this page and they can come and buy the gift vouchers, or they can give you, say, the £5,000, and then you set up gift vouchers and you send it either to them, right? And so, for example, payment method, they've given you a check, right? £50. You put in their details. So either way works. But a beautiful idea. Really, really good idea. I didn't know that, by the way. That's just amazing. I think that's definitely a goer. Even if there's either self-service or they give you a lump sum and you generate it offline. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. I forgot where we were. Was it events? It was events, yeah. Right, okay, so you can turn off and on payment methods. You can turn off and on the questions, so these are now turned off. Which questions did you want on again?
Is this for me?
Yeah,
is this being for Joy?
Yeah.
Email, please, and the telephone.
telephone. And another action for you guys, the system can default setting these on page setup as well. So let us know which channels you use. And so when somebody sets up any page, you could just default it to these all the time. Okay, so that's another action on you guys. You can change page visibility, and you're using this, and generally you want to make a page invisible to search, campaign pages, walls, and hubs until you've set it up all nicely, and then you just make it visible where you want to make it visible. And to somebody's point earlier on, just say it's a raffle from last year, and your wall, the whole intention of the wall for this moment in time is just to show current fundraisers. Then you'll just turn this page off from the wall. And then, for example, just say you change the intention of your wall to show historical fundraisers. You'll come back to this page and you'd selectively put the really cool fundraisers that really exemplify the great work you and your supporters are doing together. Okay. Right. So, no. So you said, what am I doing? Okay. Right. Anyway, page visibility. Right. Alerts. So the system will send out alerts on the account level, but also it can send out alerts on the individual level. Okay, and we probably need to make this a little bit more clear. So on the account level, you click on menu, you click on account, you click on update, this one, the first link, and then in notifications, you can put email addresses here for when, for example, people buy a ticket or set up event page, for people buy a raffle ticket or set up a raffle page, people buy a members lottery ticket or set a page up, right? Now, you can have multiple email addresses here. And if you have multiple email addresses, it needs to be separated by a semicolon and then the other email address, okay? So at the moment, you've got email notifications on the account level. So this is for any donation on any page will go to fundraising at We Are Beams, right? Now, on the page level, you can do a similar thing. But again, there's a bit of a note to know here. If you select yes here, then that will send an alert to the person who created the page. Okay. Now you can still select no here. I think this is true. And you can put another email address here. And even though that person didn't set up the page, they can get emails when people make purchases to that page.
You can also have yes and still have that, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So like if Joy set up an afternoon tea,
yeah,
she could get fundraising gets it, Joy gets it, and then she could put me in or whatever. And
that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So just note that. And so sometimes people, they select the yes here, but their email address is also on the account level, and then they get 2 emails. It's like, what's going on? That's the reason why. Okay. Account level emails and page level emails. Launch page title. Essentially what this is on the walls and campaign pages, for example, if you've got an event page, the title will be event, and then you've got all the details of the event underneath. The launch page title is replacing that word event. Okay. Redirect. I don't think you guys use this, and you probably don't need to use this. After somebody's made a purchase, instead of going to the thank you page or the success page, it will be redirected back to any other page. Okay, so for example, it could be you're working with the local business. They've set up a donation page where their employees can make donations, and they're going to go to you. Whether you split that money with them, it's up to you. But after somebody's made a donation, it could be redirected back to their corporate, CSR page or something. Or it could be redirected back to their wall. Right? So that's what the redirect's about. Not many people use that, but it's got a lot of utility. Okay, and we've also got optionals. Most pages allow you to select a donation page. Always do this, by the way. Always do this. So this is asking for ticket purchases. So you've got lots of donation pages, and you essentially select a donation page for which the donation, if somebody makes an optional donation, that donation will appear on that donation page. But always do this. And the reason why is, don't think that you are extracting money from people. Think that you're giving people, your supporters, a way they can give you money, right? Just change your mindset in that way. Now, if I'm buying tickets and my tickets cost £10, but I want to give you £20, I can't do that, can I? So by adding the ability they can also make an optional donation, I can not only buy my £10 tickets, but I can make that £10 donation as well. Right, so you're allowing me the ability to give you money, and that's for raffles, auctions, lotteries, gift vouchers, shops, and all of that sort of stuff. Okay.
Could they kind of round up if they're buying like a golf 4-ball voucher for 340 quid? Could they round it up to £400 somehow?
No, but that's a really good idea, and I'm going to make a note of that, and we're going to look at clicking that round up button. That is really, really cool. So let me take a note of that.
Yeah, because there's like other events maybe where we all send, like the Beams of Joy, it's £28. Well, they could round it up to £30, and we will get an extra couple of quid.
And also, the optional donation is also gift aided, so you get the extra couple of pounds plus 25%. Seems though Bradley's the ideas man, by the way. He's got great ideas. Right, okay, so you can add an optional donation. You can also add an optional tombola. So a tombola is a raffle, but an instant win or not. And again, this is for donations, raffles, auctions, gift vouchers. You can even add an optional tombola to a tombola. And in a way, it becomes an incentive to buy, right? Or, for example, if you're running a raffle, you may run one raffle, and then you want to change the raffle slightly. So it's like, hey, we're now running this raffle, but the difference is you're going to be in a chance to win the tombola prize, which can be anything. Okay. Now, this one is amazing. Okay, so linking memberships. So on all of the pages, you've got the opportunity to restrict payment by somebody who's bought one of these memberships in the past. Now, what that means for you is that you can now develop, say, individual memberships, gold, silver, bronze, community memberships, company memberships, and then you can run events, raffles, auctions that are members only things, right? So you've got all of these tools, come to our event, enter our raffle, do an auction, and then you've got all of those same things just for people who've bought memberships. Like, how cool is that? So again, memberships is something you really want to develop. Now the difference between, say, a regular £10 membership and a regular donation of £10, both are gift aided, by the way, but the regular £10 membership donation implies a relationship. There's something a little bit, give and take there, and that's where you want to be. You want to change from just asking for money, give us £10, give us £10 each month, to give us £10 each month in the context of a relationship, which is now memberships. Okay, so you have to realize again, you've got a community of people who's supporting you, right? And highlight that support more. Allow people to become members. Now you need to think about what the value exchange is. It could be anything, literally. You could have a free membership, which is you just receive our email, but still there's an implied relationship there.
Sorry, so could we change that drop down? So we, instead of showing it like that, it could be we want to be like a friend of Beams, or we want to do the members lottery. Could that be like an optional add-on as well?
Like the 50-50 or the
put 50-50 on it, or
yeah. So these are the memberships. These are the memberships that you define already.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and all this is doing. Remember, we're setting up an event page here. What this is doing is we're saying we're setting up an event page, and this is going to be an event just for I don't know, the monthly donation the people who are making a monthly donation.
Okay. Right. Okay, I've got you.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So, for example, you could have, you
sign up for it.
It's the people that have done that.
Limiting who can
who can join it. Right.
Yeah. So you could, for example, have a company fundraising membership, whereby part of the value exchange is they get an unbranded campaign wall. They can do their CSR. Another level, they give you more money. They get a fully, a company branded one. Another level is that it allows their staff who've bought that membership to attend certain member specific events. So there's loads of different things you can do here, but memberships, limiting things by membership purchase is amazing, right? Because, again, you want to develop that relationship with your supporters. You want to, yeah. So just think about that. Yeah. Limiting it by memberships. Then you have your impact champions. So you can say, irrespective if it's limited or not to memberships, or irrespective we're splitting the money 50-50 with a company partner on the campaign level, I'm now going to give like impact champions 5%, or you would never do this. I'll give impact champions 100%. You could actually do that, to be honest. You could say an impact champion will receive 100% of all the income they're going to generate. Why would you do that? You may do that if, for example, just say it's a social media influencer with 100,000 supporters. You think the benefit of that marketing to 100,000 supporters is more important than you generating £1,000 for the raffle. So with these techniques, you can be really, really creative. Remember, fundraising is about developing relationships with supporters, which means receiving income and marketing are hand in hand. Fundraising and marketing cannot be separated in any way. They have to be hand in hand, because you develop relationships through the communication. The question is, what is the communication? And then what's the value exchange? So the marketing provide the art of being able to communicate well over multiple channels. Fundraising provides the different content streams of the fundraising ask. Okay, but also you can do impact champions where there's 0%. Okay, now what this means is, just say you've got 3 schools supporting you locally. They all have their own QR codes and whatnot, and you can tell that this school generated £300, this school generated whatever, and then you could reward them, which may be as simple as on Facebook saying, this amazing school, they're like, they're on the leaderboards here, and this other school's third down, and so you create a whole new communication around that campaign. And in this case, impact champions just show you who's generating the most money, right? So yeah, impact champions is actually more than just giving money away. It's about facilitating things like competitions. I do get excited sometimes. Right. So our newest thing is we've just added labels. Now, what labels allow you to do is they're pretty cool labels. Let me go to a page. This was an event, wasn't it? So if you look on a page, there are lots of labels like this: get tickets, share page, where, update, supporting, tickets. Okay, so what labels allow you to do is change those for anything. Yeah, and what that does, it personalizes the page even more. So for example, if this was, you could put, I don't know, whatever you want. Think of a good, or this about, it could be, read about what we're doing at the event tonight, or, be there or be square, here's where it is type thing, and so you can, not only can you make the page look how you wanted to do it, but your tone of voice and your terminology, you can just refine it in terms of, updating those labels. It's a subtle thing, but again, in terms of making, a page presentation more compelling, you want to do things like that. Okay. And another use of labels, let's do this one. So this is an in-branded platform in progress. They're gold from the stone, and they're developing a business sponsors thing at the moment. Well, they haven't done it yet, but as a business sponsor, they've understood the value exchange. So a business sponsor can support something for 10 grand and one for 5 grand and things like that. But the labels can, really reflect more of the intention of the page itself. So instead of join, they could have updated that to, partnership packages or something like that, or this could be updated to, see how your support supports us. Okay, that's a really bad phraseology, but can you see what I mean? So labels is just a subtlety. Right. Okay. So they're the basics of every page. So a lot, labels, impact champions, optionals, more social media, images, and themes. They're all common to generally all pages, and you've got at least 3 actions to tell me if you want those defaults. Okay. Any questions on that at the moment? No. Okay. I was just checking time there. Okay, so when it comes to using these tools, you can just be super more creative with how you use these tools. Okay, so hopefully I've given you some ideas. Using membership ones, and Bradley's ideas are really cool. But just take members lottery. Again, when it comes to fundraisers, people want more of an interesting engagement. They want to feel like they're more involved and engaged in decision making. And so you do things like, of course, you have your different campaigns. People feel like their money's going more to those campaigns. But for example, on your website, you do what most people do, and you have the donate button there. Okay, remember the donation ask is plateauing. So why not just do something really more engaging than a donate button? Now, what do I mean by that? This is a really nice idea that people are starting to do.
Nathan, before we move on, we've just had a question.
Yeah.
Karina wants to know if when people book an event, can we personalise the thank you email / receipt that they get?
Oh yeah, you can. Right, that's a nice question. So there are also a few other things that are common to each page. Okay, so when you go onto the View, Update, Delete X page, look for the More button. Now, what the More button allows you to do a few more things. So you can change the campaign, you can add an email notification, you can add a notification message, which is what you're asking. You can also add a questionnaire. So questionnaire to be asked either at point of purchase or after purchase. You can add an e-card, you can short link it. You need to start using short links as well. You can obviously tag it, and you can add update status. But if you always look out for help about, okay? Help about will generally tell you a bit more information about the thing you're doing. So what this in this case does, it tells you what the email template is when people buy a ticket. Okay. Now, on a system level, you can change this email template. So another action to yourself, the email template for donations, raffles, auctions, lottery, gift vouchers, shops, I think you're using the default email template. You may want to change that. If you do, let us know and we can change that. Okay. But what you do is, if you wanted to change the email template associated with a ticket purchase, it will be changed for everybody. Okay. Right.
So you can't personalise it for the event.
No, you can. That's coming in a minute, right? So on the selling tickets, you can essentially change that. Now, if you see here, you've got something that says email notification message. Okay, so what this allows you to insert your own text wording within the email that goes out. Okay, now you can add this anywhere. So if you want to update this template, and you want to use email notification messages, this can be anywhere you want it to be in the template itself. But at the moment, the email notification message sits under the salutation. And so on your event pages, if you click More, Add Email Notification Message, whatever text you put in there, could be hyperlinks, could be anything as well, will appear where that email notification message is. All right. So it gives you the option to customize for that particular event ticket purchase or donation or raffle or whatever. It essentially allows you to customize that.
We're going to be unstoppable, Nathan.
Huh?
We're going to be unstoppable.
Yeah. But you know what? You guys are amazing at fundraising. Seriously, you're really good. I always give you as a really good example, but you could just do so many other things. And I love these conversations because you're an engaged team who love going out there. I think the only thing I'm doing is just showing you some more options that you can use, which is great. Okay, now when somebody buys a ticket, unless you redirect them somewhere, we saw how you could redirect them. they're going to go to a thank you page. So it's going to be thank you for purchasing, X tickets to the page name. You'll be sent an email shortly to email address. If you don't see it in your inbox, contact us, right? So that's the default thank you page. Now, you can add an email notification message to that, and that wording will appear underneath here. Okay, so you can add whatever wording you want. And in a similar way, you can add an e-card to that, and you can add a questionnaire to that thank you page as well. Okay, so there's a lot you can do. So just check out more and check out, all these other things you can do to essentially extend. And again, the idea here of the platform is that we know that the more ways you offer your supporters in terms of what you're raising money for is best for you. So we give you choice of campaign. Then we give you choice of fundraising tool to support that campaign. Now, as somebody's going through, buying a ticket, there's lots of touch points, aren't there? The touch points are the thank you page, the email, and we also want to give you the ability that you can customize all of those particular touch points as well. And that's what you do via email notifications and notification messages. So a typical example could be you've got an event for the Masquerade Ball. People buy the tickets, maybe they've pre-purchased food and wine and things like that. You can do that obviously via selling tickets. And then you can add on the email notification message, thanks very much for buying your ticket. If you want to enter the raffle, click here. Or how about you want to do the auction, click here. Can you see? And what you're doing there is you are linking fundraising moments one to another, to another, to another. Right. And again, that's what you want to try and do. Don't just think, somebody's buying tickets. Think about somebody wants to buy tickets. Now, where do you want to send them next? Right. And you can either redirect them to somewhere, or you can send them somewhere next as described by an email notification message or a notification message. Yeah. So always think about linking. Where do I want to send them?
Can I just ask about where you put about any dietary requirements?
Okay, so that could be a questionnaire. Yeah. So you can add a questionnaire, and you can add it after purchase or at point of purchase.
Yes.
Right. Now, let's just try the at point of purchase. Now, what we say is only unless the communication is critical to the purchase, always ask it after purchase. Right? Because the more things you add to the purchase point, the more people will drop out. Okay. So dietary requirements is probably one where you probably want to ask at point of purchase, right? Yeah. But maybe you could say after purchase, because the people who don't care may not fill it out, but the people who really care are going to fill it in, at least you'll know. Okay. So you have to think about that. But things like, do you want to subscribe to our mailing list? That's definitely after purchase. You don't want to put it at point of purchase. Okay. And then, so you say, let's just do it. Go from this at point of purchase, and then the answers can be free text hidden. You want to be as structured as possible, so maybe multi-select, right? So you could say vegetarian option, you could say meat option type thing, you could say other, right? Now this is where things link together. So just say, what's the question? What is your meal preference? Right, that could be. And so vegetarian, meat, other. How do they know what vegetarian, meat and other options are? Well, in the event page itself, you could have embedded a PDF with what the options are, what the meat option is, what the veg option is, and things like that, right? So that's where you want to start linking things together. So you can ask as many questions as you like, again, at point of purchase or after purchase. And then when I go to buy this, it's going to ask the question for each ticket, right? And it'll tell you, yeah. Oh, that's actually the wrong way around. So I need to check that out. That's a bug. I'm glad
you typed it in the wrong way around. Sorry, I didn't want to say.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. You typed the answers in the question box and then the question in the answer box.
Okay, all right. So anyway, so that's an example of how to do it. But if this isn't mission critical, you need to answer that after purchase. But after purchase, somebody doesn't need to answer it, so that you can't force them to answer. All right.
You could provide multiple tickets.
Yeah, there
I
might
mean,
be
in for everyone,
time.
but they just let me know
Time, yeah.
that there's one person.
Mm.
I'm buying 8 tickets and we need 1 vegetarian.
Mm.
Maybe a free text box then.
Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah, I don't need this for this event. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Cool. All right. Any questions, by the way? And then I'm going to talk about members' lotteries.
So is that gone now? Once you've deleted the question, it's
Yeah.
the whole thing. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's quite dynamic. So you can ask some questions at a point in time. You can, even when it's tickets are live, you can add questions as you go along, right? So nothing's set in stone. Okay, so again, you guys are great at fundraisers, but you can make things more interesting. Okay, what do I mean by that? And a classic example is the members lottery. You have you're doing it quite nicely, right? You got this 50-50. You probably didn't need to do this in this way. So with members lotteries, you've got your prizes, and for example, take Christmas come up, you could have just added another 1 or 2 prizes to the existing members lottery. Whatever prize is added in this case to a members lottery will be drawn when it's drawn, and then you could have removed those off, so you didn't need to do this extra one. Okay, but how can we make this more interesting, or how can we engage with more of your demographic? Okay, now when you set up things, and this is true for raffles, auctions, lotteries, gift vouchers, shops. So I'm speaking there. You need to play around with these different options, and once you start playing around with these different options, you realize that they're quite profoundly different experiences under the same structures. So the one I love to give is this, right? So you set up another members lottery, but you run this lottery and your current lottery at the same time. Okay, now the ticket price is going to be £30. The number of available tickets is only 100. Yeah, and you can only buy the tickets between January the 1st and January the 31st, and the prize is 50%. Okay, now why is that different from what you're doing? So you're doing like an accumulator lottery where people can win like £100 and stuff like that, right? It's whatever. It's catering to a certain demographic, right? Now with the £30 one with only 100 tickets, and you can only buy within the month of January, you've essentially created a high value or exclusive high value lottery where, because the prize is 50%, each month, each of those 100 people have got 1 in 100 chance of winning £1,500 wherever you get those odds, and you generate £1,500 each month from 100 people. Now, the thing I'm trying to communicate here is that you've got a group of people that you're gatekeepers for. They're gonna, they are constituted of, people who can give a lot of money, people who can give a small amount of money, and so you need to give them fundraising experiences whereby you're enabling them to give you money. Not you're taking the money from them, but you're enabling. So by doing a exclusive high value, high win lottery, you're catering for that, smaller group of people who want to give you more money, but they also see the value of potentially winning £1,500 each month, 1 in 100 chance. No lottery gives you those chances. And also the amount of money you generate for that is significant. Now you can just imagine, right? Just imagine and the good thing about the tool is you can try these things out on your supporter base. So you could try out a high value exclusive lottery, and you can say, we're just trying it out. We think it's a cool thing, like, 1 in 100 chance of winning £1,500 each month, right? And then if that went really well, you could say, okay, we're going to start another one up. And you can just imagine, right? If that went really well, you could have like, the January exclusive high value lottery. We're going to start another one in March, and they're all running. Nobody can buy any more tickets for them, but they're all drawing each month, generating money. And then you could say, why don't we try £100 a ticket, right? Now, maybe nobody would do the £100 a ticket, but you don't know until you try. Well, you need to understand who your demographic are and who your supporters are, but why not? And so you've got the tools that you can try out these different things. Okay, right? Be really creative, totally creative. By the way, do you think you would do high value, high reward lottery? I'd love you to do it, because I always show Beams offers really great fundraisers, and I want you guys to do it so much.
Has there been any other charities that have done such a thing?
I don't know, in actual fact. So on People's Fundraiser, I don't know if anyone's done the high value, high reward one. But you can see the rationale behind it, right? You can see it's quite interesting. It's like only 100 tickets. You can only buy within 1 month. You know, let's see what happens. And by the way, just say only 50 tickets were sold, you could still run it, and you wouldn't get £1,500. You get £750. But you know what I mean? You could then do a high value, high reward one where there were only 100 tickets, but you can buy the tickets until 100 tickets have been bought. So you don't even need to restrict it by time. And this is a game where you can be really, really creative with the same tool, different experience. Same tool, different demographic.
Might look into a Joy's suggesting I'll look into a corporate lottery, so maybe we'll give it a go.
Yeah. And by the way, the other thing with lotteries is I'm glad you guys haven't, but a lot of charities make the mistake of signing up to these like £25,000 lottery or £50,000. The thing that is a mistake there is that those lotteries, it's catering for the charity community, but probably another 100 other charity communities. Yeah. And so from the fundraiser perspective, it becomes like a donation ask, because nobody knows anyone who's ever won, right? And so even with your lottery, I don't know how much you're getting for it, but the nice thing that you probably hopefully are realizing is that everyone knows the people who are winning, and then it generates a bit of that buzz and stuff. And, you know, it keeps people into it because, you know, people are seeing who's winning. I love the way you've done this. And I always show this to people, that you're showing a log of who's won what. And it's really
one thing I'm a bit concerned of though lately, I think I've raised it with you, is I'm constantly getting the same winners, and it's getting quite concerning.
Is that? Yeah. I mean, we
this month, for instance.
Never me.
I don't mind.
You don't mind.
Amy Nash has actually now just won £100, and she won in October, and she won in August, and she's won back 3 times in the last couple of months, every single month. And then last month, someone won twice in one particular thing. I think it was Lisa Carroll. She won 2 in 1 month. So it's really weird getting the same names coming up.
You can hear me.
So we checked out the code, and it looks okay. But what we'll do then is we will send you a report of everyone who's included in the draw. Yeah.
She might have more tickets every month.
She's got 4 tickets.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. Yeah. So it is a function of 2 things. It's a function of how many. So, for example, by the way, keep that in mind, because that's a really good point. But you know what I say about you need to use, for example, a raffle, but different experiences. This is why you do things like limits right here. Okay, so on the members lottery, if somebody's bought 100 tickets, then they're going to win way more often than somebody who's bought 1 ticket. Now, the problem you create in doing that, and the problem you're creating here, is that there are 2 extremes of people who can give you money. There's people who can give a small amount of money, £1, and there's people who can give you a lot of money, like, you know, in this case, £400. Okay. Right. If you do a lot of these, the people who can give a small amount of money will stop playing after a while, because they know there's no chance of winning. And I think that's what you're experiencing in your members lottery. Okay. Because the people who've bought a lot of tickets, they've just got way more chance of winning. So people will start noticing that. Okay, so what you need to do in actual fact is you need to reduce this to something like maybe 10 or 20. Okay. And so that means that the people who can only give a couple of pounds will still play into the future, because they know they've actually got a chance of winning, because even though they bought 1 ticket, somebody else can only buy 10 tickets, And so it's quite similar. Okay.
There's
However,
there's nothing to stop them going on 3 or 4 times and buying 20 loads, is there?
But it's not worth it to do that though, to win £100.
No, hold on to the thought though. So remember, this is about. There's a couple of things I'm trying to communicate here, right? So the first thing is you need to understand that fundraising is an activity over the time. You need to cater for the people who can give you a small amount of money, but you also need to cater to the people who can give you a large amount of money, right? So that's the key thing here. So if this is a lot here and you do this over time, the people who can give you a small amount of money is stop going to play because they're never going to win, right? So what you do things like setting this to a small amount of money, right? And so that will mean the people who can give you a small amount of money will still play into the future. But what about the people who want to give you a large amount of money? Well, what you do then is you link a donation page to it, which you haven't done. And so I can only buy, say, £20 worth of tickets, but I want to give you £200. I can now give you £180 as a donation, which is also 25% uplifted because of gift aid. So by limiting the number of tickets you allow people to buy, not only do you retain the people who don't give you very much or who can't give you very much money in the long term, but you also get more from the people who want to give you more money in the short term, right? So subtle things like this you really need to think about. And because you guys are so you guys do such good engaging things, you just need to refine what you're doing over time. Okay. Now,
just a quick one. Could you not change that Christmas raffle, please?
Yeah, okay.
Because I need to sell lots of tickets.
Okay, right. I won't click update, right? If you see me go near update, just tell me. Right. Something else that you can play around with is draw mode. Okay, so, and again, what you want to do, you have a raffle, but you're presenting it in different ways so people can experience it in different ways. So when somebody buys 10 tickets, what they expect is each ticket has a chance of winning one prize. That's what people generally expect. So that's what's called ticket restricted. But what you can say is you can also do a random raffle. Now, what that means is that each ticket can potentially win every single prize. Right. So that means if somebody bought 200 tickets compared to somebody buying one ticket, that one ticket could win every prize. So it didn't really matter if somebody bought 200 tickets. Right. Now, email restricted means that it doesn't matter if I buy 200 tickets over 5 transactions or if I buy one ticket over one. I can only win at most one prize according to my email. Right. And so the key thing here is once you start playing around with these parameters, you can see that you can keep people engaged in raffles because the experience is different. And again, it's just you're amazing what you do, but it's just refining what you're doing at the moment. Yeah. Did that make sense? And then Bradley, coming back to your concern, we can still send you everyone who's included in the draws, but I think it's probably because some people have bought lots of tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what the system doesn't do, it doesn't go back and say who won in the past. It's just totally random.
Is there something that we could limit if they were to win? Then, well, no, you can't unless we then take them out of the lottery. But
Yeah.
I'm just a bit. I don't know about with that particular person. I don't know how many tickets they've actually bought, but they've won 3 months in a row, I think, and the last one is £100.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that's going to look a bit dodgy when we're sending emails out saying this person's won, this person's won.
Yeah.
We might need to look at how many tickets they've bought, maybe.
Yeah. Down. In your own time, just download the raffle ticket purchase board, and you can see how many they bought. And if you still think there's a problem, we will send you who's included when we do the draw. Okay.
Yeah.
But we've locked through the code again, and essentially what we're saying, given this date and this date, give us all the purchases, and then choose one at random. That's essentially how the algorithm works. So, okay.
So they're just very, very lucky.
Well, it's possibly that they bought more tickets than everyone.
Right.
All right. So, okay, so when you've got these other things, then just realize that, again, you can have the same structure, different experiences. But going back to this donation thing, you could make this more engaging, for example. So this is Threshold. Again, they got a branded platform. And what they're doing is they're allowing people to make a donation, but in a vastly more engaging way. So now if I choose it, oh, by the way, this is an example of labeling. Can you see, instead of about, it's where are you sleeping this Christmas? So they've updated it. And also they've updated this button to make it more relevant. So I'm choosing a donation. So I'm feeling more involved now as a supporter because I can now choose some toiletries, pajamas, basic groceries, and then I can buy those. But these can be gift aided. Now, how can they be gift aided if I'm buying things? So the contract with things like these types of pages. So this is a shop page, by the way, but it's a symbolic giving shop page. The contract here is that Threshold will actually buy the toiletries and pajamas that I choose. But if I have too many pajamas and toiletries, then we are going to use that where we need most. Therefore, it's justified as a donation. Okay, now you can just imagine then that this just becomes a little bit more engaging now. You know, do things like this to allow your supporters to feel that they're just, you know, directing things a bit more or getting more involved and stuff like that, right? Yeah, you can just play with all these tools, so many, you know, so much, and you know, you just change the parameters, and it's just a different experience. Okay, so in terms of, I think we've got about 20 minutes left. In terms of individual fundraising, then it's important that you communicate that your individuals can do all of these things supporting yourself. Okay, so in the past, the only thing individuals could do, like generally on other platforms, was to set up the Cake Bake Marathon Run. But individuals now can do their own raffles, tombolas, auctions, memberships, if you allow them to do it. And so you need to communicate those out because a lot of the time individuals don't know they can do that stuff. Okay. And again, the example I gave earlier on was maybe there's an individual who runs a raffle for you, or who runs a raffle, takes it to the office, and you get the money. You know, that's a really nice thing for an individual to do. Now, in terms of community and company fundraising, the key thing here is it's all about understanding what the value exchange is. You know, work with schools, work with, you know, clubs, and you know, sometimes they're going to give you free stuff, but realize that everyone, you know, schools, clubs, businesses, they all need to generate income in order to achieve their own purpose, and therefore go into partnerships with people. Say, you know, let's do a thing with a school. We'll split the money 50-50. We will use our respective network and reach to make this more of an income generation than if we as a school or we as Beams did it ourselves. All right. And then, of course, use things like impact champions to further extend. Right. I could chit chat for a long time, but I won't. So would anyone like to discuss, go into, talk about anything else? And did we cover what you thought we would cover? Or if there's anything else you'd like to cover? We've got 20 minutes left.
Just a quick one is when if I did the event, I've just done one where it's people can scale the O2. As soon as they register, do they get sent the fundraise, like where they can create their own fundraising page?
Right, let's check that out. So which one was it, Bradley?
Beams 30th up at the O2.
This one. Okay, so this is an example of, at the bottom here, you want to say yes to this.
Right.
So let's go through the user journey. So I click view. Now you can do it in other ways, but you know, I buy my tickets, blah blah blah, and I pay. I put in my details, but it does nothing. I just go and pay. Okay. So if you update this and you select yes, and you can also link it to a team page. So you could, by the way, create a team page, and the team page is like the O2 walk.
Yeah.
Actually, let's do that really quickly, and I'll show you. Anyway, you can do that. You can do that. So create an O2 team page, right? Or you don't need to, but I would suggest do the O2 team page. And then when people buy tickets, Google Pay, Apple Pay, again, you can turn these off. It tells you about, do you want to set up your own fundraising page? You select yes, you put in a username, you put in your target, and it will go and create that for you. Now, if you set up a team page, what it will do, it will use the name and description on that team page to populate their fundraising page. And the system will set them up an account, it will send them emails, you know.
So they'll have an individual target.
Yeah.
And then is there a way of taking that fundraising page target off, because I'm giving them a target rather than they are making one up?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you wanted to do that, then what you could say is, instead of having that yes there, and so it's automatically set up. So let's just update that then and say no to that. Then what you could use like, you could use a questionnaire, maybe at point of purchase or after the purchase, to say, you know, do you want us to set you up a fundraising page? Yeah. And then, so that's a notification message. So you could set up a questionnaire, and it could be just say at point of purchase, whatever. Yes, no. Do you want us to set up a fundraising page for this? And then you'd download that, and then you'd go and set it up for them with your specific target.
Because pretty much every event that we create that we're asking people to fundraise for, we will set them a specific target, I believe. So if we had that already as a given, then they then don't have to say £100 or £250. It would just be whatever we set them. So
Right. So that's a really good example of how you guys use it and how we can update our system to accommodate that. So that's something we'll implement then. So what we'll implement then is, so we're going to, when setting up an event and asking to set up an event page, it's not just default, is it? It's make specific the target for the page, optional. Okay. All right. So we're going to update that now. And I don't know when we release it, but maybe it's one of those things we have a backlog of things to do.
Yeah.
But then that will be available shortly. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, because I think even looking down, like even the Tough Mudder, I think it's like £300. Our half marathons, they're £350, for instance. So if we had control of that, that would be much better than them setting up their own page and then creating their own target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one though, is we have to think about that, because if the system allows them to set up a page, they're going to get login details where they can come and change that target. Right. But if you could set them a page within the account, and then you can send them the link whereby they can't update the target. But if you think about it though, is the contract between you and them that they have to raise a certain amount? The contract isn't what their target is on their page. So imagine they raise double the target. You're not going to say, I don't want that extra money, but they may want to continually put up the target because they're getting a lot of money. So also think about it in a slightly different way, in terms of the target is not, I mean, we still look to implement that because I think that's a nice idea. But the key isn't that they raise a certain target, that they should be able to raise whatever they can, but you need to contractually get a certain amount of money from them. But that's something slightly different.
You could set it as a minimum.
Yeah.
Our minimum target is
I'm when I did the skydives, I made it explicit, even along the label for the tickets. I'm buying one ticket and committing to fundraising this amount. So when people did set up their own pages, they did put that amount in. But for quite a few of them, I made their pages because they wanted to be in teams. So they wanted to combine targets and things like that. So sometimes it's better to leave it off and email them after with instructions and find out how they want to go about that journey.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, in future, if we've got an event where we've got 100 people and we've then got to set up 100 individual fundraising pages, whereas if they would just be able to do it themselves, it's a lot of admin off our side.
Might have to deal with that when we've got 100.
Yeah.
By the way, if you ever do that, so we have schools who set up fundraising pages for each member, so each child in each class, right? So that's like maybe a couple of thousand pages. So you can also do that if you click on fundraisers, and you can bulk create fundraising pages, right? And I don't know if you've seen this, but if you click that, what you do is there's a CSV template. I'm just opening it. There's a CSV template where you got the page name, page description, and details, right? And essentially, you just fill this out like 100 times. So essentially, what schools do is the page name, things like the page description will all be the same. The URL would be specific to the person. The page name may be My Fundraiser Nathan, My Fundraiser Bradley. So you want to make it slightly different. But in actual fact, the page name and page description could all be the same. The only thing that needs to be unique is the page URL, right? And so then you just upload it, and then you need to find out a way to distribute it to the people who've bought the bits and bobs, right? So you can also bulk upload, and that makes page creation really, really fast.
Sorry, could you just say where you found that page? Where was that in the menu?
Menu, fundraisers, bulk create.
Could I potentially create 30 fundraising pages and then send them as and when people purchase their ticket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's multiple ways to doing that. So you could bulk create 30, or you could just copy each time somebody does. You could just copy it and then update it, and then maybe put their name in or something and stuff like that. So that's the other way of doing it as well, right? So yeah, if things are coming in dribs and drabs, then I'd suggest just copy an existing page and maybe just update it and then send them out their link. If you literally got like 500 people, then bulk create it.
Right. And then if we are copying it, do we just have to change, like you say, the page name very slightly?
Yeah, I'll show you actually. So if I copy, I think you may have to link the, can you see? So it's copied and it's had copy there. So you would update it. And I think you may have to assign a campaign. So you'd change that. All this is the same. All of these are the same. You would change that. All of these are the same. And I think you may have to add your campaign to it. Let's have a look. Oh, no. Oh, no, that's this one. Sorry. God, I needed to. Yeah, you would have to add a campaign to it. But we can also do that if you needed. We could copy. We're thinking about deep copy, where it also added the campaign. Yeah. Right. This has been a really good session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Anything else from anyone? Again, there's so many more things. Well, I don't know if there are so many more things actually, but there's.
No, thank you so much, Nathan.
Yeah.
Been really useful.
Yeah.
Got
Yes.
pages of notes.
Yes, lots of pages.
Good. Good.
Got to prove it as well.
Honestly, I have.
But just again, I think you guys are great fundraisers, seriously, and I think hopefully you can just refine it. And there's a few more things you can offer as well now. I think definitely around community and company fundraising, but also things like you know, God, it'd be amazing if you could do the high value, high reward members lottery. That'd be so amazing. But if you do, please tell me.
All right, I'll have a little
I'll
think.
do some research.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Very much in that. You're right.
All right. Well, thanks so much then, guys. Any questions or queries, just reach out, and we're always here. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Lovely, cheers. Bye.
Bye.